Hello, everybody. This is Joseph Pasek, and welcome to the Firedup Network. Welcome to a special holiday edition of Game Time here on the Firedup Network. And also, happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas to you all, fans and viewers of the Fired Up Network. Now, we got an outstanding exclusive show for you today. Over 2 hours of original great programming. First of all, we're going to start off the show with the soccer show featuring the rookie sensation Giancarlo Lino, the Hall of Famer John Freeman Nelson of OSG Sports in Atlanta, and the all time great coach Carmen Asako of York University men and ladies. Then, part of the Fired Up Network is Female Empowerment Movement. We got Courtney Riddle, the Renaissance Mama, and we close out with a worldwide exclusive. He does not do a lot of these interviews, especially um, Canadian interviews. We're talking about LSU basketball head coach Dale Brown. I have over 50 minutes with this exclusive Hall of Fame coach about Shaquille O'Neal and everything like that. So that's the program schedule we have for you today. And tomorrow, here, Christmas Eve, we're going to have a special holiday concert with the ladies of FAM, Martina Barnett, as well as Courtney Riddle, and of course, Shauna Brown. That's all tomorrow, but today we begin with the soccer show. And again, happy holidays, Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. And, in Toronto, it's rather frightful outside. The weather outside is frightful, but inside it's so delightful because you got the president. You got the president of the provinces of Canada, the mayor elect of North America. I'd like to take the special opportunity and wish a happy holidays to everybody on the Fired Up and Fem Network, and my lovely girlfriend Patricia. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and hopefully Santa Nick gives you everything you want and more. And maybe 2023 be our year. All right, we're going to start off with the soccer show. Myself, Giancarlo Lino, the coach, Carmen Asako, and John Freeman Nelson. Hey everybody, this is Joseph Hasek, and welcome to a special edition of Game Time, the soccer show with my two Hall of Famers. Yes, even though Carmen Asako is not, but he is, and I don't know where Giancarlo is. He's shoveling my snow. It's Carmen Asako, the coach, and the Hall of Famer from OSG Sports in Atlanta, John Freeman Nelson. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Carmen, I still didn't get my Christmas presents from you, Hanukkah presents. Where are they, Carmen? Where are they?
He didn't get his Nino Diversa, coach.
You didn't get it?
No, I
I
didn't get
sent
it.
it.
You
It's in
sent
the
it.
mail. It's in
No,
the
I don't
mail.
trust mail. I don't trust mail. All right,
It's in the mail.
get
Mom's check.
let's get to it. The only one who predicted Argentina, or there's two people on this panel. Two people on this panel who predicted Argentina, and the one person who did not pick, he picked like Croatia or Poland to come through in the
Of
tournament.
course.
All right, I'll start off with Coach Carmen Asako. Let's get to the World Cup final. What a match was that? And I'm gonna say you've seen a lot of matches. Okay, was that the best World Cup final you have seen?
Well, other than '06 and '82, because
Yeah,
of
you're
obvious
biased.
reasons. Yes, other than '06 and '82, I would say that was the best match that I've ever seen as an impartial viewer. So it had everything. Fantastic. It had everything, and just Mbappe kind of had 3 minutes of incredible play, and he just had moments, and yeah, it was incredible to watch, and it was just as far as entertaining value, it was amazing, and as far as the narrative, absolutely. As far as the happy ending, the fairy tale ending, absolutely. As far as what's gone on since, kind of leaving a bad taste in the mouth of all the Argentinian people, but I guess people celebrate in different ways. But yes, other than 06 and 82, this is the best World Cup final I've ever seen.
Now, I'm going to ask you, and then we'll go on. First of all, hi to Giancarlo. Refereeing. Carm, I'll start with you. In the final, was it up to snuff?
I think so. I think so. I mean, obviously, it's not only it's kind of a referee with a partner, referee VAR. You know, the other thing I did see, and someone could someone could maybe clarify this for me, but the Argentinian third goal in the extra time, the overtime, the first action was offside. There wasn't a question of that. The second action was not on the goal. Everything that happened, and I just if there's any referees out there, why did
Wait,
they not
the
deem?
one referee's on the panel. He just came in.
Well,
He's a referee. Go ahead and ask him.
yeah, but he doesn't even know what an encroachment line is. But so what I'm saying, that first action was deemed, I guess, not part of the final action. But I'm
Right,
not so
and
sure.
that's where it was.
But
It wasn't.
as far as the whole build-up, I mean, sometimes VAR goes back to 2 minutes to find a foul that sort of happened to discount a goal. But in this case, there's an offside, which, funny enough, they didn't even show the replay that much of that offside. So the offside that led to the goal that was not offside kind of left a little bit of a head scratcher
and
there.
who
But
scored that goal, Carm?
Lionel Messi.
And wasn't this whole tournament built around him and winning the tournament? And
Man,
with
careful.
and
Careful with that.
Argentina, hold on, and Argentina couldn't hold a 5-minute lead in extra time.
Yeah,
That's on
well,
their defense. That's not on Lionel Messi, though.
I mean, a PK, and Mbappe scoring, 3 PKs in the game was amazing as is. But so yeah, the situation was the situation. I was just questioning that only, but I think the referee got most of it right. That first PK I thought was correct. And in the end, I don't think he was a main factor in what happened as far as the result was concerned. And 2 penalty kick wins for the Argentinians in the finals was in the quarterfinals and finals was appropriate. So good on them. Congratulations. And, now let's see how they move forward. But I don't know how Mbappe and Messi are gonna have a relationship when they get back to PSG.
Yeah, I know that first home match at the Parc des Princes. That one's going to be a fun one.
All right, John, what did you think of the match overall?
It was obviously it was one of the best. It was the best final, I think, regardless of sport. I think that we've ever seen, at least in recent history. And we've had like straw polls and everything. I mean, it's like, okay, well, what do you think about this? And a lot of folks are saying, yeah, it's the best ever. I mean, think about the ebbs and flows that you had. Think about all of the storylines and the plot and everything that was attached to it. No, I think it was the best one. And I know a lot of Argentina fans who were on the edge of their seats for the entire time, wishing this one forward for Lionel Messi. And so, no, it was by far one of the best finals I've ever seen. You got your fairy tale ending, and how much of a fairy tale was it that when Argentina flew home on AR 1915, you had people applauding when they hit the tarmac. You had 4 million people in Buenos Aires for the parade. Thing is that Buenos Aires only has a population of 3 million people, and they had to stop the parade because it was so far out of control, and helicopters couldn't even help you to get players in. And they deserve the party that they're having right now. It's been 36 years.
All right, Giancarlo, who was what we say is a referee youngster on the staff. Giancarlo actually texted the goaltender, and he won the goalie of the tournament and put the glove, where Giancarlo. That's a bad example that you're sending to the goalie there. So go ahead, Giancarlo. What did you think of the match?
Yeah, it was entertaining. Shocker that Messi got that penalty early. I was surprised.
Come on, stop.
It was like Zidane's penalty against Italy. Like, who would have thought, right? I thought it was a little soft, but overall, like, I didn't really mind. Like, I wasn't rooting for anyone, obviously impartial, but as the game goes on, it's kind of hard not to root for Mbappe, what he was doing late in the game. And rallying that team, putting them on his back, gets a hat trick, goes to penalties. Even in the penalty shootout, 3 times against the goalie, scores every time, just calm and collected. So if they're going forward, I know the narrative was around Messi and like greatest of all time status and all that. That's all nice, but Mbappe, if he continues his trajectory, that conversation is going to be short lived. So
Oh,
what
stop.
he impressed. He has a World Cup at 19. He has a World Cup final at 23. Messi didn't have that. So if Mbappe
All right,
continues
enough
to
of
win,
that. All right. So
conversation's not going to last long.
couple final questions. I'll start off with you, Giancarlo, since you're the troublemaker here. So overall, World Cup in Qatar. What did you think of it as a whole tournament? As you know, there was a lot of problems going in, going out, but what did you think overall of the whole tournament?
No, it was entertaining. Unpredictable. A lot of times we saw a lot of upsets, so I think it was good in that sense. European teams, this is their mid-season, so it's a different style of play. Like the quality, I was surprised that it took a while for them to get into it, but uh, it's going to go back to the summer going forward. I don't know if they'll like experiment with this in 2030 or 2029 because they did say they're going to try and do it every 3 years. I don't think that's going to happen in the World Cup. So
Absolute mistake if that happens. But FIFA's chasing the dollar. We know that.
So summer, I think, is the right way to go, even though the winter had the most upsets.
All right, and Giancarlo, I know you're texting me. John Nelson is actually wrapping your Christmas Hanukkah present. All right, so
That
he's
is true.
actually wrapping and all that.
Absolutely,
So,
that is absolutely true.
see,
That is legit. That is absolutely true.
all right.
I
so
hope
go
I get.
ahead.
I hope I get one of those. I hope I get one of those plates in the background.
Hey, Carm, careful now because this is the boss's childhood bedroom, and we've been doing shows from here in minus weather. Yeah, this is her childhood bedroom. So there's no there's no hanky panky with the language. Okay, this is this is the boss's childhood bedroom.
That's a whole new show altogether, Johnny.
All right. Let's keep it G-rated here. John, what did you think of the overall tournament? Go ahead.
I thought it was a mistake. I didn't think that the host country deserved it. I'm not identifying the host country by name because of how they acquired it. I thought that FIFA made a massive mistake, that FIFA was chasing the dollar. Once again, not a surprise that they would do something like that. And I don't like the idea of the tournament happening this time of year because it breaks up your rhythm in all of your leagues around the world. I'm a fan naturally of chaos when we get it. But, in the end, we end up with the fairy tale. And I think that you have a lot of nations who have a lot that they can build on going forward. And that, for me, is the big part in all of this. It's like, I know we're looking at the shiny objects, but I think that you look at a Morocco, who's now number 11 in the world when it comes to rankings. And you look at what still gets me is how Brazil's number 1 when they didn't even make it to the final of the tournament. So, FIFA gonna FIFA. It was in the host country for a reason. We all know what the reason was. I thought they had no business hosting it. I still think they have no business hosting it under any circumstance. But we got the fairy tale ending, and that's what matters.
All right, Karim.
Yeah, I mean, from people that I heard that were actually there, they loved the experience. They said that it was just an incredible cultural event as well. And for everything that's politically was, absolutely not right about the situation. There's a lot of stuff that like the hooliganism. I thought the all that stuff in the stadium, whether or not they were drinking or not, I think that that kind of affected it. There was a lot of different factors where I thought it was a little bit more tamer, and beyond everything else, I thought the football made up for a lot of what was going on outside the field. There's a lot to be condemned, and in the end, I'm not so against Qatar hosting now after the show they did put on.
Oh, that's another show. That's another show entirely.
Yeah, well, it could have been the same old in the U.S., but but that'll happen next year. So whether FIFA kind of made amends and said, okay, the capital of the world, here's your World Cup again. But I think that in the end, I thought Saudi Arabia, their whole world there, 4 hours from Qatar, the situation with Morocco, I thought all those things were positive outside of the Eastern perspective of things. And obviously it's tough for me to understand what that perspective is. But it was they everyone that I talked to that was there really loved it. They loved it. They loved the atmosphere. They loved and they said there was a big party. They said it was worlds coming together. And that's refreshing. A lot of times World Cups get flawed and scarred by what happens off the field as well. Whether it's we'll call it the lack of morality that happens in other countries, or and the hooliganism and all that stuff. I think that was a bit averted. I think they had some incredible state of the art initiatives that will continue on. And again, I'm reaching, but the whole stadiums being reusable, stadiums being put up and down right away, are things that were positive. But I think the most positive was the effect that the football on the field had on everything else. And I thought the football on the field was just a great story and a great time. So as much as I was scratching my head as John was about Qatar, I was pleasantly surprised with the number one, the presentation, number two, how everything went about, pretty much clean, and I know it's unavoidable, but avoiding the political part of it, I thought they did a good job, and it's probably one of the best World Cups on the field that we've seen in a long time.
Okay. Two final questions. That was one of the Norm Rumack answers.
I'm leaving a lot of that alone in the Christmas spirit.
That's what I'm doing. All right. So two final questions. I'll start off with John. In 4 years, it's Canada, Mexico, and America. America getting to the second round. What do they have to do to improve in 2026? And then I'll go to Giancarlo and Carmen about Canada. But you go ahead, John, first.
I just think that you have to continue to improve your spot. You've got to go at least one more round further. I think that with this group being in the mid-20s to late 20s that you're seeing right now, I don't think a semifinal should be out of the question when it comes to your demand from yourself. But obviously improve upon what you did in the host country, and I think that's probably the biggest thing to say.
All right, Giancarlo, you'll start us off with Canada. Go ahead. By the way, congratulations to Davies, Canadian Player of the Year there. So go ahead.
Yeah, I think for Canada, it's going to be hard to even assess it. You have to see how they play. Copa America is going to be another one to be a good predictor for the next World Cup. There's so many young players that are in the system right now, and it's going to come down to that, how they develop them and what's their trajectory like. Are they going to play in Europe? Are they playing in MLS? So it's Canada. It's kind of hard because they're all phasing into a new generation. Hutchinson's going to probably be gone. Vittoria's going to probably be gone. Borjan. So it's going to come down to how they develop in the next 2 years before you can predict the next World Cup result for them.
Carmen's friend, Marty Roberts, has chimed in, wants to know if Giancarlo is going to be at Market Lane for Italy or Canada in 2026. Go ahead.
He's going to be at Nino Diversa for Italy.
All right. Carm, you guide, and you're going to guide some players to the 2026 tournament. Future looks bright, but what do they have to do? They scored a couple goals, but let's see if they could win 2 matches, get to the second round. That will be a big accomplishment in 2026. By the way, I don't know if I heard this correctly, but 4 matches. I hear 6 matches to Vancouver, 4 matches to Toronto. That's what I have heard. What have you heard the same thing, Carm?
I have not. But Vancouver's an excellent football city. I honestly would assume that Toronto would get the 6 and Vancouver the 4, because of just the diversity in the city, and and I think that it would make more sense. Not saying that Vancouver's not culturally diverse, but compared to Toronto, I think there's definitely a lot more diversity, cultural diversity in Toronto, and I think that it would be an incredible event, and it will be an incredible event moving forward. Um, but as far as Canada's concerned, I think it's more of the same. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see um, how John Herdman. I don't expect John Herdman to leave his position or vice versa. I maybe he was going to get an opportunity in the championship, but a
I
little bit of
expect
his
that. I
answers.
hear other people are saying that he's gone.
I just don't think the CSB.
Ancelotti in.
I don't think CSB and CSA, which is CSB now, have the economic means to give him 4 more years for doing nothing. That's the reality. There's a lot of political imbalance in the CSA, CSB with players and the governing body. So I think all that needs to be resolved. And I know the president Bontis has kind of found himself in a pickle, something inherited. And there's just a lot of different political maneuvering even outside. Everyone looks at CSB as the bad guy, but they just made a very savvy business move. And at the time, CSA was in dire straits and probably on the verge of bankruptcy. So there's a lot that needs to change as far as the infrastructure. There's a lot that needs to change as far as the political things behind the scene and the serenity. And until a lot of that drama and that soap opera fluff gets resolved, we still might find some hard times. But I think on the field, this taught a lot of players a massive lesson. And I think that a lot of the players that Giancarlo talked about with Atiba and Boyan and Stevie, I think moving forward, they're going to be perfect examples what's next. So what's coming up next. And now it's going to be a test of the infrastructure. Now it's going to be a test to see how our grassroots systems and our high performance systems have developed players for that next level. And that's not going to that has yet to be determined, right? So you look at some of the kids that got drafted into the MLS, Freira, Stephen, and Malcolm, and the Mo kid. These are like top players in NCAA, and hopefully they're going to get a sniff right away in the MLS. But our system and our development system will have a lot to do on how these kids, if these kids make an impact in the MLS and with the national team. So a lot to be determined, but a lot needs to be changed as far as the political side, the infrastructure side, the women's side of the game. But we're talking about the men right now. But on the field, they have a lot of players that are going to be at their best by the time 2026 comes, and hitting their peak, whether it's David or Davies or some of the other groups, Laria. These guys are young, hungry kids, and they're just going to get better as they move on. Yeah.
In behind me is BMO Field, where they're going to play some World Cup matches. Like I was speaking off air, looks like in 2024 they're going to put 22,000 more seats in here. About 53,000 are going to stay capacity now. There it is. I don't know where they're going to put it. Probably that way, or more from the CNE food building, so Carmen doesn't have to go to the food building all the time. So there it is in 2024. More 22,000 more seats, going to be about 53,000 at BMO Field. I hear 4 games coming to Toronto, 6 in Vancouver and all over the States and Mexico there. And don't forget, the ladies World Cup happens in summertime of next year. We'll be all over it. Now, here's the final question. I know Giancarlo wants me to ask this, so I'm going to ask this, and we'll be quick because I know Marty Roberts wants to send an email to Carmen because we got now Carmen Asako at hotmail.com. I don't know if if anybody's seen that. That's his actual email address. He has it on air and all that. So I'll start off Giancarlo.
I didn't see
Messi
that.
won the World Cup. Messi, who is Messi, Ronaldo? You've been talking about this for years. Is it Messi, Ronaldo, or any other one? And let's give a shout out to Pelé. His health has worsened. Of course, in my estimation, Pelé, best soccer player ever. But Giancarlo, you'll start us off. You're a youngster. Who, in your eyes, does this allow Messi to be the top? Or are you going to say Paulo Rossi or the goalie from Italy, Juventus? Go ahead.
Buffon is the greatest goalie of all time. I'll keep it at that. And yeah, just Messi, it does give him some bragging rights. He has a World Cup, but that doesn't mean that Ronaldo's not as talented or didn't have an excellent career. He won an international trophy first. Messi won the World Cup, so obviously Messi gets a bragging rights for now.
All right. So, and let's go to John, and Carmen's coming back in. But go ahead, John.
Messi over CR37, and if you needed any doubt, if you had any doubt coming into this tournament, it's Messi over CR37 without question.
All right. Carm?
No debate.
No debate.
No, there's no debate whatsoever. As far as Messi putting himself at the godfathers of football, world football, and football history. He's there. He's on the Mount Rushmore right now beside Maradona and Pelé, and I think the rest have yet to be determined. So, but again, there's all kinds of players that have made an impact. I mean, Beckenbauer. But I think that Messi has found his place on the Mount Rushmore of greatness for sure.
All right. So as we close this out, I want to take the couple minutes to say season greetings, Merry Christmas. I'll start off with Giancarlo. He's like I called before, Rookie of the Year and all that, but he is one of the lifebloods why we built the Firedup Network. I'm happy to see him growing and growing with TFC, going to match games, match reports, doing match reports, going on the field, media passes with Yorick, also now with Sportskeeda. And sooner or later, John, he's going to be in an MMA octagon against Conor McGregor. But again, all the best, Giancarlo. Merry Christmas. I'm expecting my Hanukkah present very soon. All right. So, John Freeman Nelson. What can I say about John Freeman Nelson? Hall of Famer. We started it first, John. Okay. You know this, the president of the provinces of Canada.
Maybe there it is.
I know. I owe you a thank you because you have nominated me. Now I'm under nomination as the mayor of North America. But without John Freeman Nelson, honestly, every time we call him up there, he's a Hall of Famer. He's from Atlanta, and he's one of the best. We're so proud to have him. Merry Christmas, and to you and your family and everything like that. Really, John, Rookie of the Year, John Carlo, Rookie of the Year, John Freeman Nelson, a Hall of Famer.
Old dude.
And what do I say about?
Yeah,
Johnny, is Berhalter and Reina having Christmas dinner together?
Well, I know that. I'll tell you this: it ain't going to be Claudia GB. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
All right, Carm interrupts me when I'm actually being
Merry Christmas, everyone.
No, hold on, Carm. Hold on.
Use my Hotmail. Use my Hotmail.
Hold on.
Yeah.
So I want to say one thing to not many companies, be it TSN, ESPN, or anybody else, can have an actual coach on any show here each and every week, much like John and Giancarlo. He comes on
master
here.
Coach.
Master coach, yes, head master coach and everything like that.
Sensei.
We're beyond honored to have him here. And again, from our family to yours, very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and by next week is hopefully New Year's Eve. You cut your hair, okay? So you got to look more representative if I'm going to get you a job in the EPL and the La Liga and the Super Liga and whatever Liga and all that. And you could drive to Nino da Versa and let's have some dinner. And let's have some dinner paid on Giancarlo. He actually is the cheapest guy. He hasn't paid for anything. So, paid on Giancarlo here, all right? So, any last comments? I'll go to you, Giancarlo. And Happy
holidays.
Look at John. Simple. All right, John, go ahead.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, everybody. Please be safe and keep an eye on your family, keep an eye on your pet, keep an eye on those you love, especially with all of the wintry conditions going on in this half of the planet right now. So just keep an eye on everybody and make sure that you keep an eye on one another, and we'll be back at it again before you know it. And that's the best kind of representation that Carm can have right there, brother. That's an MVP.
Carmen never looked so good. Go ahead, Carm.
God bless everybody. God bless. Have a doggone great holiday season.
There you go.
Now, do you want to have Utah cheer? Come on, start singing some Christmas songs, Carm. Come on.
No.
Nah. I'll jingle my way out of here.
Let's jingle our way out of here.
Gosh.
Happy Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays to all the fans out there, listeners and viewers. And these three guys have made independently this soccer show and OSG Soccer down here one of the best and must tune in soccer shows in the world. And again, Merry Christmas to you all. Be safe. And Carmen and Giancarlo, John, expect big time presents from me, okay? The president of the provinces of Canada. Stay tuned for more great programming here on the Fired Up Network. Thanks a lot, guys.
Here's the box right here.
Thank you to Carmen Asacco, Giancarlo Lino, and John Freeman Nelson, and have a happy and safe holiday season. Merry Christmas to all. And if you don't check out the soccer show each and every Friday, you're missing one of the best soccer shows, period. I'll put up that soccer show up against everything on ESPN, Fox, other networks. That soccer show is amazing. And those three guys are a very big part of it. Now, just breaking. We got breaking news here. Breaking news. The Blue Jays have made a stunner of a trade. I'm trying to get my guy, Marty Roberts, to break down this trade. The Blue Jays are acquiring outfielder Dalton Varsho from the Arizona Diamondbacks in a package including top catching prospect Gabriel Mono and Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Now, he's coming off a breakout campaign. He's 26 years old. He split time as catcher and outfield. He hit 235, 302, 443 with 27 homers and 16 stolen bases while ranking in the 99th percentile in outs above average and 97th percentile in outfield jump, according to the Baseball Savant. He's a left-handed hitter, and he now joins the Blue Jays outfield comprised of Kevin Kiermaier and George Springer. So again, we'll try our best to get Marty Roberts on here throughout the show, but the Blue Jays and Arizona Diamondbacks make a blockbuster, and that's going to be talked about hopefully on this show, but throughout the Christmas holiday. Now, part of Firedup Network, as we mentioned, is Female Empowerment Movement, and each and every week we're joined by the Renaissance Mama, Courtney Riddle, to talk about stuff. And here is Courtney with the latest edition of the Renaissance Mama.
Hi, friends. I'm Courtney. I'm a performer, speaker, and a writer. I'm a mama to 3 crazy boys and a super sweet dog. I decided 12 years ago that I needed to create a business that worked for me instead of me working for it. I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur who may be considered a serial entrepreneur by some, but I realized that all of my businesses focused on connection, community, and creating an incredible experience. I cannot wait to share with you how to make small but mighty changes in your life to affect your overall well-being and create a life and business you want to get up in the morning for. That's right, my friends. I am the Renaissance Mama.
Hi friends, it's me,
me, Courtney, the Renaissance Mama, and I am so happy to have you here today. I am so excited. I am shocked that it is to the holidays. We are closing in on the end of a year. It's blowing my mind. It really is. As much as the holidays I find are a little bit stressful, a little bit overwhelming, also very rewarding and fun, I just love coming to the end of the year, doing that year in review that I've talked about. I've talked about it now as personally, as in a business. I've talked about even a little bit of doing a year in review of what happened in 2022. Now I'm ready to talk about the next step. And the next step is planning what is to come for the next year. I don't know where you guys are all at on your journey or what's happening in your lives, but for me, I am feeling so energized. I had some goals last year. I was really taking on some new challenges. I started this amazing show, the podcast, everything is happening, but I still have a lot of loose ends that I want to kind of tie on up. I have some new projects that I'm really excited to start sharing about. I'm almost done creating, and then I want to really kind of step in to the life I've been really dreaming about and hoping for. So I, in my heart, believe that 2023 is going to be an epic year. I'm excited for it. I'm pumped, but I also know that it's not going to happen if I don't set some clear goals. I'm going to be honest with all of you. I am what I consider a big picture thinker. So I have tons of ideas. I've got tons of dreams. I've got lots of things going on in my mind at all the times, but I'm not great at really making clear, specific goals and then measuring where I'm at for those goals. I mean, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. If I, promise to do something, it's getting done. That's not a problem. But when I am thinking about big picture or those next big steps or how my life, I want it to change and those changes need to happen, and I know that, I can feel it, that's where I kind of take my foot off the gas and I'm not as great on planning and really figuring out what's the next steps for myself. So together, you and I are going to chat about how do you make big goals, how do you actually achieve them, and how do you plan and really break them down so that they don't seem as scary, that they literally feel like, okay, here's my next step. Here's what I can do. Here's what's happening now. Because I feel like I'm in that spot right now. And sometimes you're not. Sometimes you are in the space of just exploring and checking it out and figuring things out. A few years ago, my whole year was just like taking on new challenges. Every month I would take on a new challenge, try it out, really, see if it was for me. Some things I kept, some things I didn't, but the next month I would try something totally different. And I spent a year, probably a year and a half by the end of it, because I liked it. I continued doing it. It was a good way to kind of get me out of my comfort zone, out of what I was used to doing. And it was tons of fun, but I feel like I'm not in that season anymore. I feel like I can feel the change, feel the shift. So I'm ready to make some big goals. I'm ready to take some big action this year, which means I want to have a plan and I want to know what's happening. I'm very easygoing, I like to adapt and kind of go with the flow, but I need to have a plan so I kind of know what is happening first and where I'm going. So I wanted to start off with just like, in general, when I'm talking about goals, because I talk about the whole picture, that's what I want us to talk about. It can't just be one or the other, right? Like I want you to envision what that whole big picture is going to look like for your next year. One of my favorite things to do is to create a vision board. I know it sounds a little lame. I normally do it just on my computer, so it's like literally taking pictures from all over the web and creating a document because I like the visual of some of the things that I just want to see in the upcoming year. So one year I wanted to travel more, so we had that. I had a picture of a bigger house at a time, so I had that. I had, you know, my kids in there, and I wanted memories with that. And then I had some more business related things, and I put everything to a clear picture so I could see it and visualize it. I used it as the backdrop for my computer for a while, so every time I turned my computer on, I would see that visual. But what I found is because I didn't take those next steps of like how I was going to get all those things or how any of those things were going to happen, some of it didn't happen. So the vision board, although it was beautiful, became just that. It became a picture that I sort of looked at and kind of thought, that would be nice. So that's where we're having the conversation today. I want to help you and me get to those next steps, get to be so clear on the things that we want, but then also break it down to see how we can get it. So when I'm talking big pictures, of course, one of the first things you're thinking about when you're thinking goals is you're thinking career goals. And I think it's okay to really kind of slow down and see where you're at, ask yourself those tough questions. Are you doing the things you want to do right now? And trust me, every job's going to have pros and cons. Every part of your position is going to have things that you like to do and you don't do. That's not what I'm saying. But if 90% of the time you're not enjoying the journey of what you're doing, then maybe you need to find something else to do. And that is hard to say because I've been there before. I'm there now. I'm still holding on to a few projects, a few contracts that bring me that stable income. And I love them and I believe in them, but it's not what lights me up. There's all these other projects that are coming along that I know if I was able to take the time from this and spend it on this where I want to be, it's going to grow and it's going to get bigger and better and amazing. But I have to be willing to hop in there and take that risk and really say, okay, this is the next steps. Let me do it. So really take that time while you're making your plan for 2023. Are you where you're at in your career? Can you make a few small changes first? That's always my first question. Are there a few small changes here and there that would make you happier with your career? Or are you like me and you're going to have to try and get rid of one thing to focus on something else? I also really believe in the fact that you can always start a little something on the side. It doesn't have to be get rid of my life, change everything, but maybe that's where we add that little bit of passion back in, right? So maybe there's something you can do on the side that would really make you feel a little bit more fulfilled in your career. If you're like, okay, I'm doing this in the daytime, but I'm also doing this sort of on the evening, and this is what like really makes me happy. Maybe that eventually will grow. Maybe it won't. Maybe it will always stay something that's on the side, but the balance of both or the integration of both is what makes you happy. I think that's just as important. So really take a moment to figure out, okay, am I happy with this career? Am I happy with the path I'm going down? Is this what I want to do? I think it's so often that sometimes we get into these paths or these routines, or we sign up for something, or we do something because we see an opportunity that we think we can't say no to. And I've done it. I've done it so many times. I'm like, oh, that sounds like I need to start a business doing that. And all of a sudden I'm running a business that I don't have tons of interest in, and that doesn't make any sense. So really take this time before you make your plans. What are you thinking about your career this year? How do you feel right now? Does it feel like something you want to do? Are you excited to get up in the morning to do it? Or are you kind of dreading Sunday night getting up and working on Monday. No one likes Mondays, but I would love you to be like, oh, wow, I get to do this tomorrow. Oh, I can't wait for this meeting this week or seeing that person. But if you are like just counting down the days for Friday to happen, maybe 2023 is where you start making some big plans in your career of what changes you can make, what's next. Maybe, like I said, starting something on the side. I don't know. So career is the first thing you want to, or one of the things. Doesn't have to be your first. It's one of our 5 things we're going to look at when we're thinking that whole big picture of what's to come and how to plan. So the second thing, of course, if we're talking career, we got to talk finances. And I think it's fine to be honest about your finances. Are you where you need to be? And let's be honest, with the inflation going up every which way, the answer might be no. And that is terrifying, especially from someone who is pretty darn thrifty. When I see how expensive things are and I'm not bringing in more money, it makes me really, really nervous. So I think financial goals are, obviously intertwined with the career, but they need to be really realistic. And this is where you might have to sit down and check out your budget. Are you spending your money on the right things? Because that's one thing. Sometimes we look back and we go through, okay, I brought in this much money, but it's going here, 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 and here. That's a simple fix you can do. That's one of those easy things. It's not fun, but sometimes you've got to do it. But if you are really not even bringing in enough money to pay all the things you need to pay, that's an issue. That's where maybe 2023 is you're looking for, once again, maybe a different career change. Maybe you're asking your boss for more income. Maybe if you're an entrepreneur, you're spending more time on a different product or a different service. Maybe you're going to offer more time slots so you can make back that income. If you are realizing that A doesn't equal this, we got to figure that out. Nothing is worse than, thinking you're making tons of money and then all of a sudden realizing, wait a second, it's not enough. Or, like I said, we're spending in the wrong places. There's lots of ways you can kind of figure that out. But you need to know what you need first. And then I always like to think of what I would like. So what if I had this extra chunk of money? What would I spend it on? What would that look like? Well, I'd love to take my family on a vacation. I'd love to take, maybe my whole immediate and my mom and my dad, everyone on a vacation. They're going to watch this and now want to go on a vacation. But who knows, right? We all learned from COVID how precious time is and making those memories and doing those things. So maybe that's a goal I have, but that also means I've got to figure out the financial goals for that. So really take a moment of some of the things you kind of need in the upcoming year financially, and then things you want. And then I would really just start writing out the numbers. And sometimes they're scary, especially from Thrifty McGee over here. But it's really important to really just slow down and see, okay, here's the visual of some of the things I want. Let's talk money. Let's talk how I can get there. Let's talk how far away I am from some of those goals or some of those big financial goals. And then we can start creating a plan of how to get there. I think, to be honest, financials is probably one of the things that I always kind of breeze over because I'm like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. It's some months are busier than others. Oh, some months is this, some months is that. Where I've got to really get a set plan on what it looks like all the time, or how to balance out those months that may not be as beneficial as other months. The third goal you're thinking about when you're thinking about that big picture is your personal development goals. So I will have to say, being an entrepreneur has given me the opportunity to really work on my personal development. It is one of those things that I think is just such a treat, such an honor, such a, blessing to have. And not everyone has that opportunity, but we can all make time for it. I really try my very best to kind of keep updated on personal development books. I usually do read one book that's a little more entertainment, one that's more personal development. I obviously love listening to shows and podcasts, trying to vary who I listen to, but always having someone sort of in my ear when I'm like doing dishes or when I'm on the run with my dog. I think having that personal development time is so important, and trying to find times in your days to do it. I love when I'm driving, especially longer drives, to put on a podcast and really listen to something, or maybe a book on listening to an audiobook is a great way to learn and take in that personal development. Because if you don't have time, trust me, it's an easy excuse to throw there. Like, I don't have time to do that. No. It's not a priority is really what you're saying. And I believe in this coming year, you should make it a priority. And you don't have to be an entrepreneur to want personal development. In fact, you shouldn't. I just found as an entrepreneur, it's so encouraged. So I think it needs to be sort of normalized for everybody to really start working on themselves, taking care of themselves. So maybe that's something you want to look on into the new year. Am I spending enough time on my health, my body, myself, that I want myself to feel better. So many people start 2023, but start in January saying, I want to, lose weight. I want to move more. I want to this, I want to do that. And then we very quickly don't make that happen. So how is that, if it's in your big picture of how it's going to look, I think it's important. And so you got to know that it's there, but now we're going to add those next steps of like how we are going to fit it into our day, how it is going to kind of schedule into things, because if we don't plan it, let's be honest, it's not going to happen. So that's third one is we're looking at is that personal development and being very clear on how you want that to look. Is it your mind? Is it your body? Is it, how are you going to find the time to do these things? Because that's one of the ones that I find does get thrown to the side very quickly. The next one you're thinking big picture is maybe your spiritual goals. Are you the person you want to be? Are you showing up how you want to be? Are you taking the time, if you are religious, to do the things that you want to do? I'll be honest, I'm not a very religious person. There's things that definitely interest me. I look into it, but on the whole, I get very sidetracked with other things and life in general. But maybe this is a huge part of who you are or how you want to bring it back into your life. So that could be a goal and something you're looking at in the new year. Maybe there's something you used to always do as a family growing up and you're like, oh, I'm not providing that opportunity to my family right now. So maybe there's a way you can bring that spiritual, into your life again, into your family's lives. I don't know. It's part of the whole big picture. It might be part of your big picture. It's not one of the top priorities for me this year, but that doesn't mean it couldn't be in the next year, right? Or even halfway through the year, things may change again and I may feel differently, but this is your choice and your journey. So I want you to think that in that big picture, is there something that you really want to achieve spiritually this year? And to do that, you're going to have to, once again, be very clear, be very honest with yourself, take the time to listen, to feel, to figure out what you feel like you're missing, how you want to change that, and then make those steps to make those changes happen. The last goal you may have for this year, or one part of one of your goals, is relationship goals. So for me, I always got to check in. Am I spending enough time with my family? And am I spending enough quality time? I told you before, as an entrepreneur, there's so many times that I have these conversations with my kids and my husband of okay, it's about give and take. It's about me, certain seasons to me are a little bit busier business-wise, and certain seasons are going to be busier family-wise. And they know that, but sometimes it's really hard to really accept it when it's happening. It's hard to say, I'm sorry, I can't be at that event because I got to do this work thing, or I'm sorry, I can't do this because I've got to do this work thing. And back and forth though, it's sometimes hard being at work, I'm oh, I'm sorry, I can't take on this big project because it's family time. So really balancing those relationship goals. Maybe for you this year, you're really interested in looking for a partner. Maybe that's something you've been wanting to do for a while. And I know there's so many times that people are like, oh, it's just gonna happen, it's just gonna happen. But I also believe sometimes you've got to take those actions. So you've got to be out in the places. You've got to be trying different things. You've got to be putting yourself out there. I heard this podcast the other day, which was really incredible. This woman was trying to find a partner, and she hired a relationship coach. And one of the first things this coach made her do, first of all, the coach gave her some very specific rules. So that goes back to us, like making these specific goals, but the coach gave her specific rules that kind of pushed her out of her comfort. So the first one is that she had to make eye contact and smile at every man she saw, and kept that eye contact until he turned away. So that to me alone is just like opening doors and opportunities that like you didn't even know existed, right? You wouldn't normally smile and look at every single person, but it kind of makes sense. If you are looking to meet someone, to connect with somebody, then yeah, you should be looking and smiling at everyone. It's like putting a sign to you. They're like, hi, open for business. Hello, hello, right? You want to send out those good vibes and good sign. The second thing that she had told her she had to do is that if anyone did ask her out, she had to say yes, even if she wasn't interested. Let's be honest. How many times have we said no to an opportunity, whether it's business, relationship, anything, so imagine we just had to say yes. So she had to say yes because that was her goal. Her goal was to get a partner, the partner of her dreams, like that she really wanted in her life, that wanted the same things. So that was her next step. And then the third step is that she still had to say yes if they kept on asking. So once again, how many times do you just shut down when you're like, this isn't really working? I don't know. I'm going to leave this. I'm going to move on to something else. But this forced her out of her comfort zone to really kind of create these relationships, put herself out there, and do something different. So relationship for you, what those goals could be for 2023, I don't know, but I think they need to be important. They need to be part of it. They need to be part of the whole board, whether you're doing a vision board, whether you're journaling it all out. I feel the first thing you need to do is you need to have like a brain dump where you're just throwing ideas of what you want in the new year. Before I get specific, I've got to get broad. I've got to like paint the canvas first before I get those pretty little details. I need a big, broad picture of what I want this year to be. And how I normally do that is I pick a word or two words, because sometimes you know me, I can't decide. I pick a word or two of how I want to feel in the new year. Not what I want to do, not what I want to accomplish, not how much money I need to get made. Like, remember, we're talking about all those things eventually. But the first thing when I'm planning my new year is I want a word or words of how I want to feel. I've decided I have two this year. So I've decided them and I'm going to share them with you. And my words are focused and free. I can share with you what they mean to me, but they might mean something different for you. So for me, I want to be focused this year because I told you I've been holding on to other projects. I've been holding on to other opportunities. I've been yes sometimes when I should say no, because I need to get focused on the thing I want to do. I had some big aha moments last year, like moments I shared with you of like, I tried a project because I thought I could do it. I thought it was gonna be easy. I thought it was gonna be good money. And then I started it and I was like, I don't want to do this. It didn't feel right. It didn't align. It just felt like heavy. And then I realized what I wanted to do. So I love this show. I have a great new project where I teach digital course about musical theater, which is clearly what I love and it's going to make it so accessible for people all over the world to learn musical theater at home with like a parent or sibling. Like, I wanted a bonding experience, because to me theater is like bonding experiences. So I'm so excited for this project. I'm really hustling right now, working hard for it, but I know it is what I want to do. So I now have to look at the rest of the things, rest of commitments that I feel bad, saying goodbye to, but I also know it's time. So that is where the focus is going to come. And then the free is similar to that as well. I need to be free to make these choices for what I want in life. I want that freedom of, going with my kids on a vacation and my husband. I want the financial freedom of being able to afford a lot of things that sometimes I don't splurge on or I don't go for. So I am choosing my words as focused and free. That is going to be my 2023. So I want you to take this time too to really think in your head, how do you want to feel next year? How do you want to feel? The next step I'm going to do is, after I've got my words, which I've got, I would take that time still to make that big visual. So I'm going to, take all those images, because I love visuals. If you don't love visuals, it might not mean as much as to you, but I'm going to make all those visuals of what I want to see in 2023. So if I've already decided, okay, here's how I want to feel, now what I want to see in 2023. So I'm going to make that beautiful visual board, probably just on my computer, because I'm not going to cut and paste and do all that, but you may want to do that. If that's your thing, yeah, you go ahead and you make your beautiful visual board. So now I've got what I want to think, or how I want to feel, and now I've got what I want to see. Now is where I would take all those ideas. So I would start, and what I'm going to do is almost just like a crazy mind map of just like writing things down, but I would do like a career one. So write all the career stuff that I want to see, how I want to feel when I'm doing my career, what are some of the goals that I eventually want to see, and just write them all on one thing. Then I would go financially. Okay, remember, what are the things I actually need, how much money I need to make, how much I want to make. If I were to make that money, what I would spend it on, I'd write that all on a page. Then I would go next to that personal development. What are some of the things I really want to achieve this year personally? Do I want to take more classes? Do I want to, get better, make myself feel better? Do I want to make sure I'm drinking more water? Whatever it may be, write them. Then I would hop over that spiritual one. Same thing. What are my spiritual goals for this year? Write it all over on another page. And then my last one, relationships. Oh, I want to spend more time. I want to do this one, that. I would look at all my pages and really see what is jumping out at you. What is like calling you the most? And it could be one from each of them. It could be one from 3 of them. It could be one. I don't know what it is for you. I haven't done my exercise yet. This is what my plans are. But once you really figure out, like, highlight them, circle them, whatever they want you want those goals to be, those are going to be how we move forward. So, for example, if I really want to build my business, my digital course business, the first thing I want to do is I want to use that SMART goal system. So in case you're unaware of it, we're going to go through a sort of my version of what I do when I'm doing SMART goals. So of course, with SMART goals, you start with your S, which is your specific. You want to get really specific with those goals. But you want to make everything very specific on how you're going to do it, why you want to do it. That one, I think, is not touched on as much. And I think you need to do that when you're looking at specific goals and you're looking at, breaking down all the steps on how you're going to get it done, all this. I think you do need to connect that why you want to do it. Because if you don't connect the why, you're going to eventually give up on it. And I think that's where so many of us are like, okay, in January, I want to get fit. I want to lose weight. I want to do this. But you're not connecting it with a deeper reason why you want to do it. Then that's why in a few months you're like, oh, this is really hard. I don't want to do this anymore. Whatever, I failed. It's fine. Move on. But if you connect it of why you really want to do this, why this is something that
you feel, that you need, that you want so badly, then when times get tough, you are going to be able to really push through. So any of those goals, if we're looking at all of our papers and you're like, okay, I've got this financial goal of why I want to get that financial goal, really break it down. Like, okay, I want it because if I don't, I can't afford this. And if I had this money, I could do this with it. Like if you make it so specific and so clear why you want it, not just like, oh, I want to make this amount of money because it sounds nice, because it sounds fancy. I want to tell everybody I make 6 figures. Why though? Break down why. Like, that's why I love the visuals. Like show what you would spend it on. Show how you would feel being that comfortable, not worrying about money. How you would feel when you could like take your parent on a vacation. How you would feel when you show up at someone's door with a present. I don't know how you want to spend your money, how you want to donate your money. I don't know. But you want to make your why very, very clear so it can motivate you when times get tough. So the next part of that SMART goals is your M. I feel like doing a dance for you, like the YMCA. I'm not going to, but I feel like I could. The M is measurable. So you don't want to make these goals that like you don't know if you're actually getting to where you need to be, right? Especially if you're talking financially, like let's start measuring. Okay, I want to make X amount this year. It's January. I've made how much? Because that's 1/12 of the year. Like, where am I at? Like, I'm thinking of like looking at that like thermometer when you're at a fundraiser. Like, it's going up, it's going up, it's going up. So you want to measure where you're at. Are you where you're supposed to be? Are you behind? Are you ahead? Do you feel good? Like, keep checking in and knowing, okay, I'm here now, but I need to get there. How am I going to get there? And look ahead. Look to what is realistic. So many times we're like, I want to make tons of money. I want to reach this goal. But if you don't look to what's ahead, you might not be able to really reach it. I know one of the things I want for this year, so one of my goals is really to think big picture, and I want to kind of think like a hustle and flow season. I know there's going to be times that I'm going to be like head down, getting stuff done, figuring all the pieces out, working on a project, getting it finished. Then I want a little bit of flow. I want to spend some more time with my family. I want to make sure we're having some great memories. I want us to have that vacation we've been for the last few years. I want to, maybe connect with some old friends I haven't seen in a while, especially pre-COVID. I want to connect with people. I want to get back out there. Then it's going to be hustle again though, because I got another big project going on. So hustle. But then also adding that time again for the flow. So afterwards to maybe take some time to study, take some personal development classes that's been on my to-do list for a while, and then go back to the hustle. I know it's going to happen, but I want to see that clear picture of how it's going to happen. And then I can measure, okay, am I where I need to be right now for the next season that I know is coming up? Was that hustle? Did I do all the things I needed to do? Am I done? Now I'm allowed to have a little bit of flow, a little bit relaxation. So measurable is your second SMART. The next one is the A, is attainable. All right, we could be here all day if I'm just gonna give you like my big dreams and my big goals and my what ifs and it would be cool if scenarios, which I think you have a time and place. There's some great ways to like brainstorm the like amazing things you could have in your life. But that doesn't mean that should be your goal for right now. I'm thinking like, okay, there's some big goals that like it would be nice if could be down the road goals. But maybe the ones here, like maybe I'm just at the starting line. So I need to make sure the goals I'm making right now are attainable. They're ones I could actually achieve. Yeah, it may take some time. It's going to take some work. It might take a little money, but they are attainable. I can make it. I can do it. I can see it through. You don't want to, make goals that you can't achieve, because then you're going to fail, and you don't want to set yourself up for failure. The R for your SMART goal, that's keeping it relevant to you. So similar to what I just said is you want to have the why behind that goal. You don't want to pick a goal because it's something you think you should do or something you saw someone else do or something you've heard is a good thing. No, you want that goal to be aligned with that big picture of how you want to feel, what you want to see in the new year, and what those big dreams are going to be. Because it's that why that's going to keep you going. So make sure you're keeping it relevant to you and why you want that goal. The T is our time. Yeah, making things time bound is so important when you're setting your goals. So really kind of looking at what you want to get done, when you need to get it done, looking at that big picture, but also being really realistic of like, okay, and then being able to change. I mean, we get it. Life happens. Even this week, I've had all these little things pop up. And of course, we're trying to get ready for the holidays. There was an issue with my dog. There was, as kids' sporting events, all these things. But you got to know life is going to happen. You got to know things are going to pop up. So really being realistic of like, okay, I want to get all these things done. This is my end goal. There's my what if goal. Now I need all the little steps in between, and making clear timelines to get those steps done will make you feel so much better. So those are 5 for your SMART goals, but now people are talking about smarter goals. So the E is about evaluate. And I'm thinking maybe this is where I'm kind of missing on the whole picture, is I'm probably not going back evaluate. Yes, the things that I'm getting done, I'm like, boom, done, check off the list, go. The things I'm not getting done, I'm like, oh, it didn't happen, go. Like I'm not taking the time to stop and either, number one, on my path, being like, okay, am I where I need to be? Check it. Right? You can't just set it and forget it. If these are big goals you want to make happen, and you've made these timelines and you've broken them down into smaller timelines, and you've looked at your overall picture of where you want to be, how you want to feel, how you want to show up, check in with yourself. Are you doing the things you said you would do? Are you, getting those things done? Are they happening on time? Are you feeling the way you wanted to feel? If I want to feel focused and free, am I feeling it? Like, I've got to make that time to check in. And I'm going to tell you right now, I am going to do this like I do most things. I'm going to put a reminder on my watch or my phone or my computer. And I'm going to set a reminder, how about once every 2 months? 2 months to do my check-in. It's going to pop up on my message and say, Courtney, did you check in? How are your goals going? I know it sounds cheesy. I know it sounds simple, but sometimes I know that is what I need. So I'm going to make sure that those check-ins, those evaluating is happening. So I know if I'm on the right path for my goal, if I know that my goal is still what I actually want, and if I'm feeling the way that I told myself I wanted to feel. All right. And now the very last one, the R, it's reward. Yes, it is. How many times you made a goal, or you've done something you wanted to do, like, okay, let's do the example of like, I wanted to lose 20 pounds and you lost 2 pounds and you're like, oh, I want to lose more. No, my friend, you need to take that time and reward the 2 pounds. Be like, yes, I did it. I'm so pumped. I'm so excited. Share it with your people. I had someone a few years ago, I think I've told you the story before. My girlfriend wanted to quit smoking, and she told all of her friends. So now that's a huge thing. You want to set these goals, share it with everyone. Share it with me. I would love to hear it. And she told everyone, I want to quit smoking. I want to quit smoking. She's like, I know it's going to be hard. Every week she got a reminder from her app of like, okay, you're 1 week more. Celebrate. She would text it to all of us, and we'd all text her, cheer, and we were just so excited for her. So I need to take the time to celebrate even little wins. When you are working towards that big goal, feel big. The journey is gonna feel long, but if you like little steps on the way and like how good things are going, you gotta celebrate. You gotta reward yourself. You gotta take the time and share it and be just so happy that you're doing it. All right, so another few quick little tips before we go. I said it, share it with people. 100% if you have an accountability partner, they are gonna keep you in check. I think that is a clear thing that has shown to be super successful when you're creating goals. So accountability partner, very, very important. And then also, like, I want that visual, and I've done it already for this year. There's a big date of something I'm working on, and I have it posted up. So every day I can check it out. Check out that visual, and it's specific. It's not my pretty visual board, because remember that sometimes gets lost in my messages. It's specific. It has a date. By this day, this is going to happen. Specific, clear, in my face. I can't ignore it. It's happening. All right, my friends, I hope you're excited as I am for the new year. I would love to hear what some of your goals are, what you're thinking on, how I can help you. As always, check in with therenaissancemama.com, because I would love to hear from you and connect. And I hope you have a very happy holidays and cannot wait for this new year. Bye for now, friends.
Thank you to Courtney Riddle, the Renaissance Mama, part of a female empowerment movement. Since I told you about a breaking trade, we called nobody better in Toronto. Not some guy named Mike Wilner, not some guy named Howard Berger, not some guy named Billy, not some guy named Norm, long hair, nose or ear or something like that. We got the grizzled young veteran, Marty Roberts. Marty's dressed for the occasion. First of all, Marty, have you shoveled the snow in Barrie? How much?
I've snow blowed it. I've shoveled it. I've cleaned everything off, and it's back again.
It's back again.
Yeah, the wind
like
here is. I don't know what it is like.
Back again. Come on.
Well, I don't know what it is like in the city, but up here north, it's the wind is being howling at 80, 90, maybe upwards to 100 kilometers an hour from time to time, and it's making it pretty treacherous on the roads.
All right, so everybody, stay at home. Watch the #1 independent show here, Fired Up Network. Marty Roberts 3 times in 2 days with special segments. Boy, I'm working him to. You're gonna get that Christmas bonus before you know it, man. You're gonna get that Christmas bonus. You know what? I'm gonna deliver it through FedEx. It's gonna be breaking news. Breaking news.
As long as they don't get lost. As long as they don't get lost, we're good.
No, the breaking news FedEx person that I know never get lost, right? Never gets lost. I think you know her too. All right, so the Blue Jays make a blockbuster deal. Marty Roberts, fill everybody in on it.
Yeah, I like this trade. They traded Moreno and Gurriel Jr. to Arizona Arizona had a bunch of outfielders there, and they got the guy that I mentioned a couple weeks ago to you. Dalton Varsho is his name, left-handed power hitter. He was actually drafted as a catcher, so he can play both catcher and outfield, and he's a pretty elite defender in the outfield as well. So I don't know if people have watched his video. I know people are upset. Oh, we traded Moreno and Gurriel. First of all, Gurriel had 5 home runs last year. Batting averages nowadays don't mean as much as they used to. Moreno still hasn't proven himself. He hasn't got to the big league. Yes, he's probably going to be pretty good. Would I rather Kirk?
Who are better than
would I rather
now?
Kirk to be traded than Moreno? Yeah. Probably yes. But I think other GMs see what I possibly see in Kirk is that he might not be in the league in another 3 or 4 years. Yeah. If he doesn't get himself in a little bit better shape, one injury could knock him out. But you know, when fans see the way this guy plays in the outfield, he's a guy that just busts his tail every at bat. I've seen him a few times throughout the year, and I watched a couple of videos after the trade was announced. And you know, he goes full out all the time. We don't have to worry about a guy pulling up and not diving for a ball or getting bad reads like Gurriel does on balls. This is a guy that reads, takes the proper routes, and if it has to, he'll go through the wall to get it. And behind the plate, he's pretty good too. So this is a guy that can, if they want to play, give Jansen a break and have Kirk DH, they could put him behind the plate. Or if one of their catchers go down, they still have a guy. The only concern I have, and I know why fans don't like this, and yes, right now they're not as good as they were last year offensively, because you still have Kiermaier starting in the outfield.
Well, here's the only problem also. They got, and I don't know if you know this, but George Springer is injured also, right? Come on.
When isn't Springer injured? That's the concerning part. Is they, Springer gets hurt a lot. Kiermaier gets hurt a lot. Hopefully with Springer not having to play center field as much, that takes a little bit away from him. Kiermaier, I'm still not sold on him. I told you when it happened. We talked about it with Steve yesterday. He's a guy who gets hurt way too much for my liking. He's a guy who doesn't get on drive-in runs or gets on base enough for my liking. So I can see why fans will be upset by that now you've lost Hernandez, which all arguments you could say that Varsho is Hernandez. Better on the base path, better defensively. Numbers will probably be about the same as what Hernandez will have. And he might have better numbers when he comes to the Jays, but everyone's always called for, we need left-handed bats with some pop. Now they get it.
16 bases.
And he can run, right? And I believe he's not a free agent until after the 26th season.
Yeah.
So they got him for 3 or 4 years. I can't remember what the exact year is. But yes, last year was just his second full season.
And he's 26 years old.
26, lefty, can run. And I think what this does with Atkins, what he was looking to do too, is to break up the click at the end of the bench. So if you look now, there's no Gurriel, no Hernandez down there. That to me looked like they were the bigger troublemakers down there. Now Vlad can focus on stuff and not be joking around at the end of the bench. To me, that's what I think Atkins was looking to do all winter here. But getting this guy is a big plus, Joe. Like I really like him. I think fans will like him. I had a discussion. Well, it wasn't really a discussion with our good buddy, the Greek. He doesn't like this trade. So that should tell you everything you need to know about this trade. Is that it's a perfect trade.
Hold on. You mentioned our good. He's your good buddy. Remember, maybe we need him back to make this a number one organization instead of a fresh.
Right?
The only Greek I trust is I think who I trust. I don't trust, and I don't trust guys with toilet paper in their hair or something like that. Right?
Now to be fair, the Jays still have to go out and get another arm in the bullpen.
Yeah.
To help
maybe
out
another
there.
Outfielder too. Let's face it.
Well, they're going to have to sign someone to be a backup. It wouldn't surprise if they do go back and give Tapia less than what he would have got in arbitration.
Right now, if you look at Merrifield, is probably the fourth outfielder.
Yeah, there's no question he is. He's their fourth outfielder. And Biggio's there, and then Espinal, and they can all rotate in between outfield and second. So if someone does go down, you have Witt, who could go out there in the outfield to take control of that out there, and he's pretty good. And if he comes back to what he was 2 years ago with Kansas City, this becomes a different lineup. It becomes a lineup of guys that can hit the ball of the park, but also guys that can hit and run, steal bases, make a difference with their legs, going first to third on a single as opposed to us going base to base.
Yeah,
I don't know how many times I've seen last year and the year before that Gurriel and Hernandez making bad base running decisions, or getting late breaks or taking bad routes in the outfield. This is to me, this is a very good trade. I would have liked to see Kirk go as a Moreno, but this is a good trade.
And I don't think he's done. Like, honestly, this was unexpected. It's much like the Raptors, Masai Ujiri. When he does trades, nobody hears about it, right? And this, nobody, to your credit, this is why you're the grizzled young veteran, and potentially in 2023, maybe I'll get you a better hat, because that hat is like, I don't know. But
hey, it's Durham College. College.
Yeah, but Durham College is great there, and you're a good manager there. But you got to upscale your game. We're gonna unveil a big announcement. You know what, Marty? At the end of this segment, okay, I'll unveil a huge announcement. I told you about it, but I have more details about it. And then at the end of this segment, nobody independent. This is the first Canadian interview with LSU head coach Dale Brown. He coached Shaquille O'Neal. No Canadian outlet. I don't care the names of the outlets. No, tell that to the Greek there. No Canadian, and he likes basketball, or he claims, right? He claims to like basketball. He plays with his balls too much, if you ask me. But anyways, so we'll talk about that. But here, he's not done. The Blue Jays are not done.
No, they aren't. They're gonna get another guy or two maybe for the bench. They'll just be a minor piece. But I still think it's the pitching staff he's gonna go out and tinker with a little bit more. I think this, Pearson will be in the rotation. I don't know. I don't think as a starter, but he'll be in the pen. I think come next year, if they can get one more guy in there, their games are shut down after 6, 7, 8, and 9 will always be taken care of no matter what. So we know who I liked. I liked Taylor. He went to, I believe, San Francisco.
Yeah.
On a 3-year, $33 million contract or something like that. So I liked him. Chaffin's still out there, who I really like. Maybe they can sign him. Hopefully to get a piece in the bullpen, because that's been the biggest problem. Everyone complained last year about defense and pitching. Well, we're upgrading the defense, and the pitching is slowly getting upgraded. We've added 2 pitchers. I think there's still one more arm out there that he can go and get. And like I said, with this upgrade in the outfield right now, I think the Jays fans will grow to really like Varsho out there roaming it. He can play center, left, right, and catch. Like that adds a lot there.
And don't forget about the upgrades that they're doing here. And in case you outside of the Rogers Center, they upgraded the lighting system all over. Everybody was talking about it on Twitter yesterday, the lighting system and all that. And kudos to Jordan Romano with that lighting system for the reliever that comes out there. But Blue Jays, let's face it, because about 3 years ago, we were all talking about Chaparro and Atkins not doing anything. Why are they here? Why are they? And lately, I would say since COVID, when they had playing in Buffalo, playing in Florida, playing all over, they really have pulled the triggers on a lot of big names, big trades, big money also. Of course, nobody's going to spend like the Mets. And Conforto, by the way.
Yeah, signed with San Francisco.
Yeah.
He signed. There's another guy that I was hoping that maybe they could get. But you know what? You're right. The Mets, no one's going to compete with the Mets with what they're going to spend, the Yankees. But you sometimes have to do things, and this is what the Jays have done over the last few years. Everyone always says, oh, they're not doing anything. Well, if you look over the last few years, that Ryu, Gossman, Springer, Bassett this year, they do things.
Yep.
And just because Jays fans have never heard of someone, because all they do is watch the Jays, like I don't know how many posts I saw about who's Bassett. Like, are you kidding me? You don't know who Bassett is? So
and who's they signed Varsho? Like,
right,
nobody watches Arizona. They look at the record,
and we know how typical Toronto fans are. Is they want to give away their worst player to get the other team's best player.
Yeah,
like let's trade Kirk straight up for Varsho. It wasn't happening. If it was, that trade probably would have been made, but it wasn't happening. So sometimes it's an overpay. This might turn out to be a little bit of an overpay. I don't think it will be, but it might be. If Moreno goes out, and we already know he's defensively is very good, puts the bat on the ball very good, lacks power-wise, got some speed to him. Gurriel is just an extra piece of my mind, and he always has been. He's a guy that has lots of talent, but doesn't keep his head in the game all the time. Last year, he went down to 5 home runs. They're really 5 home runs. Joe, you could go and probably hit 5 home runs off of a tee.
No, hold on. Off the tee. Yeah. Hold on. I hit 5 home runs. I'll book 5 home runs in a game, let alone a season in a game. All right. If the fences are like 112 feet. All right.
No, but you're right. I don't think the Jays are done here. I really don't. I think there's still a couple more pieces they're looking at. They obviously always check in on everyone. Every GM checks in on everyone. If they don't, then they probably shouldn't be in the GM chair. And that's why every time you hear, the Jays are in conversations with this guy or talking about, everyone checks in on the top names around to see what it's going to take. And then as soon as they're told what it's going to take, then they back out of it. But I like this. The only thing I said is Kirk, I don't think will have the year he had last year. But Kirk is becoming better defensively. He's becoming better at framing balls. He's doing that stuff better at blocking. So the Jays are going to be all right here if they can just get one more arm in that bullpen and hopefully add Pearson in there healthy.
And don't forget about Kirk and Johnson. They're catchers. So even if he goes down a little bit, he gets maybe from 300 to 260, 12 home runs. Johnson, 240, 12, 13 home runs. Your catching position hitting 250, 260 with 25 home runs. That's pretty good.
Catching used to be never a position of had to be one of your better hitters.
Yeah.
Right? It used to be a guy that you needed to call games, defend. Next year is maybe it's not next year, but the year after they're bringing in that auto strike zone or whatever it is. That's going to take a lot of the framing jobs out of it, because if you don't think it's a ball or if you think it's a strike, you're just going to call it and say, hey, I want to challenge that, right? So things will change there. So you're going to need a guy that can throw some runners that block some balls that are bounced in. I like what the Jays have done here. I'm still, they're not where they should be offensively like they were last year, because, like I said, you still have Kiermaier doing center field there. It's a guy that bats in his career 240 with no power. Yes, he can run a little bit, but a guy coming off a hip surgery, like Steve said yesterday, fractured his hip a few years ago, so he's always had hip issues. Hey, maybe the surgery helps him now. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
and don't forget, last year, 2 years ago, Vlad hit 45 home runs or whatever. Yep. They lost a little bit of power last year. Nobody's talking about with Vlad not hitting 45. He hit 35, 36 or whatever, right? So it's always up and down, up and down. We're expecting, like, what you expect from catchers is, like I said, 250, 260, 12 home runs, Kirk, 12 home runs, Johnson, and we got 250 catcher with 25, 26 home runs.
That's and Joe, you have to remember, like, I was a big Hernandez fan when he got traded from Houston to Toronto. I really liked that trade. I saw what he could potentially be. When Hernandez was traded here, there's a lot of people say, who the heck is this guy? Now all of a sudden they fell in love with him. So this is the same situation here. Only difference is Varsho is a little bit further ahead than what Hernandez was when he got traded to the Jays. So, I think it took, in his first year, I think Hernandez hit 20 plus home runs with the Jays. Then he started getting more confident, getting more ABs, regular position, didn't have to look behind his back. I think with Hernandez, a lot had to do with maybe he didn't want to sign here. So they figured, let's get him out of town now. Yes, they probably could have got a little bit more for him. But at the same time, you also had a guy that checked out a few times. We've seen it, watching the ball, and they would hit off the top of the fence. Or he wouldn't run for a ball in the outfield or make a bad decision on the bases. A lot of this stuff is getting cleaned up. I like it. You also have to remember that Mattingly is going to play a big role in this. This is a guy that, was on
not like the little general.
Right. But Mattingly is a guy that's played in the bigs at a high level and was just on the outside of getting into the Hall of Fame. So he's a guy that's going to help some of these guys, along with their hitting coaches and other stuff, once they get into camp. So I'm looking forward to this. I hope that they get another arm. And by this, all this is said and done, by next season, everyone's going to grow to love Varsho and what he does and how he goes about the game. Like I told my son, I said, he reminds me, looking at him, I'm not saying he is, but looking at him, he reminds me of Mike Trout. That's what he looks like to me. Very solid looking guy, busts his tail, and doesn't take anything for granted. So if that's what we're getting, and he keeps doing this and keeps getting better, this is going to be a plus trade. Cool. And you remember a couple of years ago, more than a couple of years ago now, but when we made the trade with Colorado, we traded Hoffman there. Yeah. He was one of the better up and coming pitchers the Jays had. And everyone's like, oh, we shouldn't have included him in that.
And what he never made it.
He never was a regular in the big. So prospects are prospects until they get to the bigs and they show otherwise. A lot of prospects don't iron out. And Moreno could be in that same category. I don't think he will be. I think his power won't be there, but he'll be a guy that gets on base for guys to drive in, and he'll do his job behind the plate. But you have to give up something to get something. And this trade, I really like this trade.
And if you look at it, historically, the Blue Jays go out west with Oakland. I don't have to tell you, Josh Donaldson, their third baseman right now. They go out west and I don't have to say this, closing in where was McGriff, Carter, Alomar. Nobody talked about that when Pat Gillick did it in San Diego, right? So it's like nobody's talking about this, but you're right. This guy has the ability. He's a left-handed, and what I like about it, he's not in his 30s. He's mid-20s. He still has an upside. And last year he hit 27 home runs. What's he going to hit this year, right? He has, and here's the other thing about the Rogers Center, where we always say it's hit friendly or whatever. We don't know how it's going to be now when they're going to do all these renovations. Maybe more home runs can be hit there all the time. So we don't know yet. So we need pitchers who, and you mentioned bullpen arms, but somebody with gas, somebody 99 to 101, 98 to 101. We need maybe two of those guys, and arguably, we're there. We're there.
Yeah, we are. And you look at everyone else, and you look at this as a whole. In the AL East, what have the Yankees truthfully done besides they added Rodon?
Yeah.
Right? They re-signed their own guy, Judge. They re-signed their own guy, Rizzo. Their bullpen is weaker than what it was last year. So the Jays have gone out and added Bassett, have gone out and added an arm in the bullpen. Yes, he's not a 98, 99 mile an hour guy. He's a 94, 95 mile an hour guy that has swing and miss stuff, as in his off-speed pitches.
I'm going to be honest with you. I spoke yesterday, late last night, to Mark Solinsky. Everybody knows him. He equated Bassett and a little bit Syndergaard, a little bit softer. Syndergaard's 95, 98. This guy's 94, 95. And then, he said he's a perfect Gosman pitches, and then Bassett pitches. He's perfect.
And here's what you have now over the last couple of years that you've added Manoah, you brought him up. You had Gosman, you brought him up. Now you signed Bassett. These are three guys in the rotation that compete, that have that edge to them, that hate to lose. That you watch Bassett, he's got that Scherzer type of an attitude. That's what we need. We need guys on this team that want to compete, won't take time off, won't say, oh, I'm not feeling well today. I don't want to pitch. I don't want to play. They go out there day in and day out, and it takes an awful lot to get them out of the rotation, out of the game. I like what they've done. Yes, it's not the $350, $360 million contracts that other teams are handing out.
And you forgot one guy here. Because I did speak to Mark. He said, watch out for Barrios is going to have a bounce back year. And Barrios is a number 4. Remember who was your starter for last year? He was the number 1. So
if he could come around,
number 4.
Yeah, he could come back around to what he was previous to last year, and have that 3.6, 3.7 ERA, strike out a guy an inning, less than a hit an inning type of guy. This is a solid 4 rotation, and depending on who is our 5 guy, if it's Kikuchi or whoever, this is a pretty solid rotation that they have that will get you. All those guys will get you 6. They could get you 7 if you wanted to.
Yeah,
but that's not the way the game goes anymore. It's 6, then we go to the bullpen. So, like I said, we still have Garcia, Romano. We got Swanson now out there. You got those 3 guys. Then yes, you got your Simbers, your Richards. You got Bass there. You got Pop there. So you got some guys that, don't forget, Pop is a guy that throws 98 miles an hour. Doesn't strike out a lot of guys because he's got so much movement. He throws the sinker. But they got some guys in the bullpen that can get it done. And it's probably been one of their better bullpens over the last 5 or 6 years. When you look at it, they got a guy. There's no question who your closer is. Yeah. Going into last year was who's going to be the closer. We know who the closer is this year. It's Romano. Now you got guys that can go 7, 8, 9, or 6, 7, 8 if you need them to. But you got guys that can rotate. If Romano can't go, then they can have Garcia go and close out the game. They can have Swanson if he's got to close out the game. This bullpen's a lot better off. I think one more arm does it. I really do.
Now, do you put Pearson, barring he's healthy and all that, do you put him as the 5th starter or you put him as the number 8? Like, an 8th inning guy?
Yeah. If he could stay healthy, I would say put him as your starter. Put him at the 5 guy. Let him go every 5 days in that 5 spot. and see what he can do. But he tends, when he's a starter, for some reason or another, gets hurt. I don't know why. He just does. Something
Well,
pops up.
that's why I asked you. Do you put
Right,
him
so
as the
it might
eighth
be
inning
best
guy?
that he goes in the bullpen, and you can bring him when you need a strikeout situation. Guess who you're going to? You're going to Pearson. You're bringing him in with his 100-mile-an-hour stuff and letting him do it. There's lots of guys that were starters and didn't fare very well. They're starters and moved to the bullpen and became really good guys in the bullpen.
So my only question to this is they got all 80s. They need, and preferably in the bullpen, they need another lefty.
Well, they do, and that's why I said Rogers and Chaffin, right? They're both lefties to help Mesa. Instead of just having that one lefty out there in Mesa, I think if they could go in and somehow arrange a deal with Chaffin, and then you would have Chaffin out there with Mesa, two lefties, and Chaffin is pretty good at getting lefties and righties out. So if need be, he could stay in there and face the righties and do a pretty good job at getting them out. The problem would be is if you sign Chaffin and Pearson, then you have probably Richards is gone, which it's not going to break my heart that Richards is gone. He's a mop-up guy anyways, right?
Yeah.
Then the next guy in line would be Simber.
Well,
is Simber the guy, or do they leave Pop down?
Yeah. Well, I would want Simber because basically the stretch where he
because it's a different angle. It's something different that they can bring in and throw teams off of, right? So it's going to be interesting to see what they do here for the last, I think you said yesterday, 54 days left. So I guess 53 days today.
Yeah.
What transpires here, but I like what they've done. For the last few years, they've done this exact same thing with this team over and over, and it didn't work. So now they're trying something different, and now everyone's like, "Oh, what the heck?" Well, it didn't work for the last 2 or 3 years, so they've gone. They tried something different. We'll see if this works. It's not a big dip in offensive numbers right now from Hernandez to Varsho, but you do get a base running and defense from him.
And you got younger.
And you got a kid that can, if you need to, you can always have your catcher, a catcher catching and a catcher DHing. Because, Varsho can then go in and catch. If need be, they can move him from the outfield to put him behind the plate. So there's no issues with that. So this is a solid on Atkins' part. He's going to take a beating for it. Don't kid yourself. There's going to be a lot of fans, but they're just that. They're Chiefs fans. They're not baseball fans. They don't watch the whole picture of things that are going to get done and how things are done on the field. But once they see this team on the field with Bassett on the mound or showing the outfield, they're going to be happy with this. They're going to be happy with these two moves that they made. And like I said, the only thing I have the issue with is Kiermaier. If he was your fourth outfielder and a guy that could go in there, start 2 or a couple times a week and then come in defensive purposes, that would be okay with me.
Yeah, they definitely need another outfielder.
So like I said, it wouldn't surprise if they, we already said they got Merrifield there and Biggio. They could also, again, just say, hey, Tapia. Let's bring Tapia back.
I believe that they're going to bring somebody with a spring training invite, and he'll probably make the team. There
might be, and there might be a guy in spring training that surprises, and they keep him up. Yeah, it's going to be a interesting next month and a bit, and then into spring training, which will start. Pitchers and catchers start reporting in February, so. We only have.
Hold on. Do they report after February 8th? Because I don't know if you know this. February 8th is the world's greatest day, isn't it?
It's the birthday of a couple people that are just happen to be on this show right now. So
now, what is it more important? February 8th, is the birthday more important for the president of the provinces of Canada or the grizzled young veteran? Or can we share birthdays?
Obviously, the grizzled young veteran.
We can't share birthdays?
Well, we can share them. I'll give you a small piece of it.
A small piece of it. Listen, Marty, all right, you're on here. I called you last minute, and honestly, Marty Roberts has become a very good friend, and we had him on yesterday with, telling happy holidays, Merry Christmas. You had a day in a snowstorm, okay? And what a day to make a trade. Kudos to Russ Atkins and Shapiro. Look outside. spring training weather. Spring training weather, baseball weather, summertime. I want to get a go down to the Rogers Center with one of my the other Greek that I actually like. All right, okay, and have not one beer, not two beers, not three beers, not four beers. Maybe she'll have sweet wine, red wine, and everything like that. But watch Blue Jays and everything like that. But Marty, honestly, we called you up here. You're always here. A big friend, or became like family to me and all that. So on behalf of everybody here at the Firedup Network, I want to wish you once again, to your family, to your daughter, your son, and your wife, a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Hopefully they don't make a trade, because I'll call you during Christmas and be on here again, okay? So anything you want to say here?
No, just everyone stay safe over the next day or so, because this is supposed to continue into tomorrow. Get all your shopping
does that
done.
mean my Hanukkah present is gone? Didn't you do it through FedEx? You knew I had somebody there could do it through FedEx, and did you do that?
Yeah, they told me that they were not accepting it because of who you were. I don't know what that meant, but they handed it back to me, so I opened it up and I used it for myself.
And what was it?
I can't tell you now.
All right. So,
but no, everyone have a happy holidays. Have a very good Christmas. Go out and spend money on Boxing Day with all the deals. And
now, what deals are you going? What do you need on Boxing Day? Let me see. If it's above 25 cents, I'll get it for you.
Above 25 cents. There you go. We're stepping up.
Yeah, above 25.
It used to be below 25 cents.
Yeah, I wanted to say this, and I'll only say, I must be in the holiday spirit. I'll only say this one time. First of all, Merry Christmas to you and your family, your daughter and your wife and your son, but also Merry Christmas, the guy who actually introduced us, Billy Jorgansakis, better known as the Greek. I will never announce his name again here. I'll just announce my favorite.
You guys have this like love hate. You guys should.
No, I don't love him. He loves me.
You guys should be like brothers. That's you guys are
brothers.
like brothers.
By the way, you talk about brothers. When's our birthday again?
February 8th.
February 16th is Billy's birthday. Do you know what other February 16th is? I'll give you a hint. Has a calendar that never gave it to you.
Yeah, your sister is that day as well. So there it is.
Brother, sister. No wonder there's something going on with me in Greek. Come on. All right. By the way, I want to do a special shout out to another Greek, Patricia. Patricia, hopefully you have a great Christmas there, and you owe Marty some FedEx stuff. I don't know. He said they didn't deliver or whatever. Shame on you, Patricia. Shame. Didn't deliver. I thought FedEx delivers through wind, snow, rain, just not through Spanish. All right. So, Marty, any final thoughts here?
No, that's it. Was happy to see this trade be made. We'll see what else happens, but everyone just have a good Christmas. And remember, leave the opening for Santa to come down. Don't put anything in front of him so he has a problem coming down. You always got to touch his nose, take the dip down.
Hold on, Marty. Since me being Jewish, all right, I have a question. I always wanted to know this, okay? You drink eggnog?
Nope.
No, what is eggnog?
I don't know. Never had it. But I did last night. Like I told you before, I went up to the keg. Oh, my gosh. Was I full?
Wait a minute. How many steaks did you have? Did you make
I had a 14-ounce prime rib.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, and then, my wife couldn't finish her top sirloin, so I had a little bit of that, and then we had a couple wobbly
no wonder at around 10:30 after we did the show, I called you. You were in some place.
Well, I was laying in bed. I couldn't move. I ate so much.
You weren't in bed. You were in some washroom establishments. Come on, making strange sounds. Come on.
I'm gonna have to make a little bit of room for turkey dinner on Christmas, so I gotta somehow find some room in there.
That's the big thing about turkey on Christmas and Thanksgiving. Why can't you have a good steak?
No, ham and turkey is what we'll have on Christmas Day, and then it's not at my house this year, so I don't have to worry about cleaning up after or my wife. So that's the good thing. But the only thing is, when you go away and dinner's somewhere else, you don't have turkey sandwiches or turkey soup for the next week.
Yeah, well, maybe that's better, right? You don't want leftovers.
I love turkey leftovers, turkey sandwich.
And what? You're not having pizza after that? I'll get Andy McNamara. He has some codes for Domino's pizzas.
He has some Domino's codes.
Dominoes. All right. So like I said this before. I'm going to unveil this. This is earth-shattering news for the Fired Up Network. Marty, sit back, take your hat. I'm going to expose everywhere. Starting very soon, in fact, maybe next week, we are going to be distributed to 230 million households due to our good friends at worldwurl.com. They're putting us on all these platforms, everything. So Fired Up Network is going to be more fired up and everything in 2023. And do you know what this means, Marty? Honestly, do you know what this means? This means
Joe. I'm still stuck on that. You said you were going to expose. I'm like, oh, please, Joe, leave your
no,
clothes on.
all right, here we go, Marty. So here I'm gonna say this to you. Do you know what this means, Marty? Now
Yeah.
more than ever, and I know I'm gonna get a call from the other Greek and some guy with a lot of hair in his ear. Okay, Marty, you may actually get paid 25 cents or a maximum of 50 cents per
I just
show.
think it means more people get to see this ugly mug of mine.
Well, you said that, and I didn't. All right, you said that. But Marty, right now, after we finish this segment, a world exclusive. He has not done a Canadian interview, especially to an independent company. LSU basketball coach, famed basketball coach Dale Brown. Do you know who I'm talking about, Marty? Have you heard of him?
I've heard a bit about him. Yes, I have, and that's coming on after we're done.
No, right, like 2 minutes.
That's after we're done.
Yes, it's after we're done. 2 minutes from now, and Dale Brown again, big nobody independently, especially Canadians, has ever got an interview with him. And again, the big news: we're going to be distributed to millions of platforms. Fired Up Network is here and we're growing. We're growing bigger. We already got the female empowerment movement. And Marty, I know tomorrow when you're eating, or you're not eating at Christmas Eve, it's Christmas, but so you're watching NFL football. But around 7:30, 8 o'clock, tune in to the Fired Up Network female empowerment movement because we got a holiday special. A concert, Marty. A concert. You know, like Marty, I wanted to you
I
to
wasn't
come on
invited to this.
because it's all about. Are you a female? Are you a female?
I can sing.
You can see what's okay, Marty. Here,
I
since
can't sing.
both
We're not singing.
no,
No, I
no, no.
can't sing.
Since we're both in the holiday mood, I'm not asking to sing. But if you were to sing, what would be the song of your choice?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Maybe Santa Baby.
Santa
Maybe
Baby.
like we've had there has been postings of me around on you know other platforms of me singing that you have not seen, and some
What were
people
you
have not.
singing? I want to know. I want to know what. Look, I'm getting a text from Patricia. Oh, I hear something. All right, hold on, Barney, hold on. What is this? It is cold outside.
See, I can sing a little bit, Joseph.
Wait a minute.
Not,
I
not,
don't know who was singing. That doesn't look like you. It looks like
not,
50 years younger than you. I don't know if who.
not. I can't sing worth a lick. I can't. My daughter is a singer in
Oh,
this
come on.
household.
Since I'm look, I'm not going to ask you to sing the Hanukkah song. Hey, Hanukkah. All right, I want you to sing one. Give me a line. You're in a Christmas mood here. Give me the line. A line from a Christmas song. Let me guess. Go.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer.
Yes, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer had a very shiny nose. Not bad for
How about we go Ice Ice Baby?
all
Seeing
right,
it's
go
today.
over. Listen, we could sing Ice Ice Baby because they
All
never
right,
sang
stop,
in third place.
collaborate, and listen. Ice is back with my brand new invention. Something grabs a hold of me tightly, flows like a harpoon daily and nightly. Will never stop.
Something's
No,
got a hold
I'll
of
just
me
grow.
tightly, Marty. Something's got a hold of me tightly. Just make sure
Uh-oh.
it's not. Never mind. All right. So there it is. There it is. You know what? I know you like wrestling, okay? You're like the Acclaim. Hey, listen, Daddy O. You know what I'm gonna say, Daddy O? Marty, come on. It's the whole scissor me, Daddy O. Come on. See, deuces. All right, that's Marty Roberts again. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas to you, your family, Marty. Again, you were positive about the Blue Jay trade, right?
Yes, very positive about this trade.
All right. You know what you're going to be positive about? A worldwide exclusive. Hasn't been done to with a Canadian independent network. Here is LSU basketball head coach Dale Brown. Hello, everybody. This is Joseph Hasek, and welcome to the Firedup Network. Welcome to a special Untouchables, but Derek is preoccupied, maybe doing his hair. Yeah, right. I got the great, some would say the world's greatest coach, Dale Brown here. Dale, first of all, how you doing?
I'm doing magazine.
All right, Derek. Of course, you're an amazing coach, and you have a connection to Shaquille O'Neal. Can you talk slowly about Shaquille's journey into basketball? I guess.
This is one of the great journeys of all time. The State Department got a hold of us when we were still kind of at war on that Berlin Wall, and start speaking in Southern. They were going to send 85,000 American troops over there, German border, to intimidate the communists. We're not leaving there. What I did and work my way up to northern Germany, speaking to the troops. I said, absolutely. So I was at my last spot up in the mountains called Wildflecken, and which historically, when Germany was invaded, they'd come through here. And I finished my lecture, and I was packing my bag, and I thought, I'm anxious to get home. I get a tap on the shoulder, and I turn around, and here's a gentleman, maybe 6'9", 250 maybe, well-built, stutter little and shy. And he says, Coach Brown, I'll be trying out for the team. I can't dunk a ball, and I run up and down the court about 2-3 times. Extremities tight. He said, can you show me some exercises and I can have some endurance? And I said, sure. I said, do you have, how long? And he smiled, and he cupped his hand over his mouth. He says, Coach Brown, I'm not. I said, you're not? He said, I'm only 13 years old. Being the Rhodes question, what's your name? He said, Shaquille O'Neal. I said, what do you do? He said, my father's a career military man. So I said, well, I'd like to meet him. I said, well, let's go meet him. I was just putting my hand on the door of the Sun, and here's a guy with a green military towel, barrel-chested, profusely. That's my dad.
Wow. So
I said, Sergeant Harrison, head basketball coach at LSU. Yeah. And I said, I'd like to give you my card. And when he's kind of looking almost with disdain at it, and not really making, he said, excuse me for interrupting, Coach. He said, can I say something? He said, basketball. But he said, I think it's time our young men get educated so that they can be in the Army instead of a lowly sergeant like myself. And he said they can be head coaches and coaches running all over the country, recruiting players for white coaches. If you're intellect, someday we might talk. Well, that's exactly my. So as soon as I got back to Baton Rouge, without even going home to see my wife after being gone I went to the office and sent the weight training program. Shortly after that, I got a letter, APO from Germany, Wildflecken. I did everything you told me to do, and my high school coach cut me off the team. I'm too slow. I'm too clumsy. I have too a feat, by the way they were 8. He said that I could never be a basketball player. Why don't I be a goalie and soccer? Man, I sat down behind the desk and thought, what kind of a profound statement am I going to make a child that just had his heart broken? Well, heck, I'm going to tell him about my life. My biological father abandoned my mother and I 2 days before I was born. She came off uneducated, 8th grade education, $42.50 a month, babysat and cleaned people's homes. And she gave me the enthusiasm, education. And I heard people say, well, he won't be amount to be anything. He had a terrible place above a bar in a hardware store. And I said, Shaquille, wrote him a letter. Shaquille, I know you've had your heart broken, but every time that happened to me, I mean, it worked. If you never get any conditions, your very best, and only you will know that sooner or later, God will do not give up. Adversity only visits the strong. It's state you can do it. Years later, he told me, sent him to get the mail. It was a snowy day in the mountains. He was thinking of quitting and becoming a military guy when he got done. And he said, I'm not quitting. And the rest, his basketball is secondary. Most benevolent human beings I've seen in my life. He has his doctorate. He had the highest grade point average on our team one year. And that's trouble these guys have. And he's just a good human being. He's a good person. Those shoes, 6'9" and 250, those shoes now, and he used them pretty well, but just a good overall human being. Yes, sir. No, sir. And I used to tell the team, I'd bring him to the middle of the court. I'd tell him, I've been doing this a long time, and there's a big difference between hearing, and the best listeners will be the best players. The difference in hearing part in light travels 186,000 miles a second. So that's a big distance issue. The difference is this. Hearing, it goes one ear and out the other. The father, the coach, the teacher, you just let it go in one ear and out the other. When you listen, you take the substance, what he's doing, and put it up in your subconscious. And I found the best listeners are the best players. Wow. Years later, picture from him. And it's his hands on his knees at a timeout in the air, and he said, Dear Coach Brown, because you taught me how to listen, they now say in the history of the NBA. So he looks like, when you look at him, he came up there to Canada, you'd say, hey, he looks like the exterminator. I is Bambi. He's one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life.
And can you, first of all, that's everybody listening and watching to this. It's the time. It's the season, holiday season. Do never give up. Sure, we have bad days. But the next day, you live another day, and you maybe, something else happens that you give it a positive. That great what you said. Shaquille O'Neal started. Nobody gave him a chance. It's Shaquille O'Neal. Now, I don't have to tell you, one of the best basketball players, also rich. He can sing, he dances, everything. That's a great story. Also, can you tell me about health challenges?
About what?
Health.
Sorry?
Yeah, the health challenges. Health challenge.
Health, right?
Yeah. Sorry?
Talking about Shaquille's health specifically?
Yours, Shaquille's, everything, health challenges.
Oh,
and your time in Idaho also.
I'll the answer from that.
Sorry?
The Malaysian, now, I'm not 100% sure. I believe it was the Mayo, no, it was Harvard University. Decade study about health and death. And in it, the people that were positively thought, hey, I can whip this, that had prayers coming in quicker and saved death more than anything else. He always had it. He grew so fast, mom couldn't wrap her shoes all the time. And his toes were, I mean, they won't win any national awards for nice looking feet. The toes are turned with that for a long, long time. I believe an LA doctor operated on him, and it was much help. So he played in quite a bit of pain. It was always yes sir, no sir, and he never had a run with the. I was going by a school one day, an elementary school. See, Shaquille O'Neal is going into the elementary. Stop my car, go in. Here he stopped himself to talk to the kids. He took them in the gym. And they crawled all over. He joked with them. He's a superstar that never forgot. How did that happen? His biological father, I don't know. Well, he may have met him after LSU. I don't know that. But his stepfather, Sergeant Harrison, real tough on him and was very candid to him and disciplined him. His mother, she's a sweetheart. She was the glue of the family. Always talking about cheating. Well, I'm going to interrupt that cheating business. Yes, there is some cheating in the whole business. Were the NCAA for years. The NCAA is supposed to be Collegiate Athletic Association, and what it really stood for years is. But here's a young guy that never asked for one thing. Came here, he didn't have proper clothing. The military. 3 siblings. The family had besides Shaquille, very uncomplicated. And his mother, I love his mother. She's a sweetheart. So the toughness he got from his dad, mama, was Lucille O'Neal Harrison.
Now, can you talk about the time in Idaho?
The time in Idaho?
Yeah, his time in Idaho.
I was the assistant coach at Utah State. But one of my players played for Derry in that professional team they had in Idaho. Who had he not had a serious knee injury, he'd have been one of the greatest point guards. And he really cared for Derek. And Derek's a good coach and a good man. Or something. It comes from the heart. Now, Derek shocked me one time. He shows up with another guy on a bicycle, and they bicycle from Idaho all the way to Louisiana. Never told you that or not, but which is remarkable. But to get back to failure, Bob Richards, who won the decathlon champion gold medal in the pole vault boxer, he's dear friend of mine. And he told me one time, Dale, he talks about IQ, intelligence quotient. He said, that's not nearly as important as that. I said, FQ, what's FQ? Failure quotient. If you look back, he sports in television and radio, whatever. He said the people that have years, he have a great FQ. They don't let that, he said, and so your FQ is more important than your IQ. Everybody, and I think that I think it was Muhammad Ali's. He said, "Defeat." How do you say that? Defeat is only a word. It's not what happens if you think positive, something like that. And that's many times we think everybody that gets ahead, man, this guy got ahead, this girl got ahead. Well, that's not true. You'll find out most people have it very, very. All of us, there's 8 billion people on Earth right now. And there's that all the 8 billion can apply to. Number one, only visit the strong, and it'll stay forever with the weak. And if you get down in the dumps, oh man, I've committed a lot of mistakes. I'm a sinner. I'm this. I'm that. The great playwright described all 8 billion of us perfectly when he said every saint, every sinner has a future. I don't know anything about the sainthood, but I do know about the second one. It's somebody, but examine ourselves and what. Not Edgar Guest. Oscar Wilde said it. That's.
All right, so a couple final questions with Coach Dale Brown here. And I'm not going to say you've been coaching a long time. I'm not any derogatory, but take us back from when you started to now. What changes do you see in professional athletics there? Because you coach the future. You're coaching the future when they start off, starting off and then getting there. And like you said, with Shaq and everything, what changes have you seen when you started to now?
I coached 44 years of coaching time. I think probably the biggest thing I've seen is the money that can now be made. And let me give you an analogy. John Wooden, who was the greatest basketball coach and the I've ever met in my life, he was a perfect example of Edgar Guest. Edgar would rather see a lesson than to hear one any day. I'd rather you walk with me than to merely. The eye's a better teacher and more willing than the ear. And the counsel you are giving may be very brief. I'd rather get my examples by you, what you do. That's what John Wooden did. Bill Walton, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar are friends of mine. They've told me numerous stories about him. Give you an analogy. What's changed the most? I'm wondering how many people, because they love kids and want to coach, or is money now dictated? And here would be the analogy. I Wooden coached 27 years at UCLA. He won 1-0 national championship. Nobody's even gotten close to him. He's half that. When he retired, this is not an error, was $32.50. That counted for, so money's kind of taken over the game instead of the enthusiasm and the love for people. John Wooden was a paramount example. And I think the other thing that I learned from John, I went out when I first got the job at LSU in 19 college job I had, and I wanted to talk to the leaders and study them. And the thing that I learned about coaching, players don't care how much you know until they know. And once you do that, Coach Wooden told me one time, he said, Dale, Mr. being humble, he said, but I'm just very average when it comes to the X's and O's. I'm good at. I get the kids' heart, and they believe in me. And he could go on and talk, you're older than Methuselah, who was 969. Unusual guy. There aren't very many of them.
So dare I ask, I'm going to say, what's left for you to accomplish in the world of basketball? And if I say, okay, if you retire today, what would be your greatest feat personally?
That's an excellent question. How much longer God will have me on earth? I'm 87. John Wooden was 9 from being 100. I think the greatest joy I had was to become a head coach. Now, this may sound, oh, that's goody two shoes. That is that. Never, not one time, my goals were a national power. They had 14 out of 18 losing seasons before I got here. 5 years since they won a conference championship. I wanted to make it a national power. I wanted to help young men improve their lives. 85% of the guys have a college degree. And so my goal, as many people as I can, I don't want to be Father Flanagan. I don't think you should publicize. Do St. Francis of Assisi in the 5th century had a great quote, said we should all preach the gospel every day, and if necessary, use words. So it goes back to that poem of Edgar Guest. You want to be a father, a boss, then follow that advice. I'd rather see a lesson than to hear one. They walk with me than to. The eye's a better teacher and than the or giving may be very fine and true, but I'd rather get my examples. But a perfect example of that, I had no father in my life. We had no contact, literally. Him momentarily twice in my entire life. My mother was the asset about education, and a moper and a crybaby. You've got to take what's given to you. There's going to be heartache. And then what happened to me, there was an ex-coach. I went to an all-Catholic school at Minot, North Dakota, St. Leo's. We had a nun that was pretty tough and mean, and they were the habits at that time, and she was with it, you know. So when we're walking out of the classroom, one of the guys said, "What do you thought of her?" I used the words, "She's a son of a bitch." And I didn't say it to her. I said it to him. We got to the next class. There's a knock on the door. It's the ex-coach, who's a priest, Father John Hogan. And I could hear him say, "Dale." So I went out in the hall, and he kind of pinned me up against the locker and said, "What'd you call sister on the way?" Words. So I tried to con my way. I said, "SOB." You said S. I said, "Well, I swore at her." "You swore at her. What'd you say?" So I told him, and he kind of banged me off the locker. I don't think he really meant the locker or anything, but he banged me off the locker. I had my shirt folded over, and he grabbed. Now I was 17 years old at the time. That's 70 years ago, and me telling, I get almost tears in my eyes. He squeezed the back of my neck and said, "You can make something of your life, and I love you." And he walked down. You'll see him walking down the hall, and I turned to him, and I thought, that's the first that ever told me he loved me. And from that day on, there's not a program I haven't told I love, even though that I might have to kick off the team for breaking a rule. 2 and 2 is 4. It's not 5. It's not 6. It's not 3. It can't be 2. I grew up with a good mother and a good ex-coach.
All right. So three final questions. Number one, take me through in the lay of a life of Dale Brown here. We all know basketball is your life. Let's put it that way, okay? But do you like other sports? Do you like fishing? What do you do in a day of your life if you're not doing basketball? Or do you watch the NBA also?
I am a fan of the NBA for a combination of reasons. I go to basketball games. When I got out of coaching, I wanted to, and I used to dream about that as a kid. And for any people that are listening now that maybe may not have a dad in the home, I used to sit in the fire escape, and I would draw quotas as flat as the top of your desk. I'd like to climb the highest mountain, I'd like to travel. I'd never been out of mine in North Dakota. Maybe do a little town out 20 miles or a little trip with the basketball team. And with that stuck in my mind, in my brain, I traveled in 90 countries in the world, and I climbed the Matterhorn. So the impossible can do until somebody does it, and that somebody can be you. And activity in this country, there's so much division. The Republicans say the Democrats. The Democrats don't belong to any party and never will belong to a party. I belong to the human race. I don't judge people by color, by ethnic group, by their religious background, whether they were in prison or not. And it goes back again, what I said, Oscar Wilde, every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. So right now, my goals, I don't do as much public speaking as I did before. I have 3 grandsons. The youngest one's now, right now, basic training in Great Falls up in the Midwest for a Navy SEAL coach, basketball coach, college basketball coach, and the other one's an attorney. As much time as I can with them. And I've been with the same, thank God, how 63 years. I can't live with myself. Same wife for 63 years. I met on North Dakota border in Columbus, North Dakota.
Wow.
So I've been blessed and help people as much as I can. There's a lot of, and I'm not talking about parasites. The best charity is what you initiate. When you've got people, I told Shaquille that, and I think he's pretty wise about that. He's a smart young man and a good man.
So, Coach, 2 final questions here. Since it's the holiday season and everything like that, I'm going to ask, okay? Nobody probably has ever asked. But what do you want for Christmas or the holiday season?
Personally, I have a wife of 63 years. I have a beautiful daughter. I have players, 160 of them I coached at LSU. 85% of those, their graduation degree. But I'm still in contact. Coached in high school up in Columbus and St. Louis. I want to help to see, and I'm not trying to be evangelistic because I'm far from that, and I'm to be honest with you, just to do good and not advertise. We're masters of doing something and then advertising what they do, and I think that's just continue to thank God. My health has been for 87. I know I'm 69, so I can count that out. But just to live a full life, help people. Also, I think something else is very important for all of us. Evil can only flourish when good men do nothing. And when we do against politicians or businessmen or phony evangelists or what have you, we're helping them. And evil can silence evil's greatest ally. There's no question about that. And to be able to have the and the whole, I don't know the Canadian, to be honest with you.
Well, it doesn't matter. Good people should be good. Doesn't matter if they're Canadian, American, whatever.
Right.
People should be people. And if COVID taught us one thing,
There you
and
go.
I'm gonna say one thing. COVID taught us one thing is to love each other, not to take guns and violence and all
There you
this
go.
stuff all the time here. Final question, Coach. Final question. Since I'm replacing for this show only Derek, right? Obviously, I've done a better job than him. But give me your thoughts on Derek Bowles here. He's untouchables, but give me your feelings and how you saw him rise and through his health problems and everything like that. Take me through, Derek. Your thoughts on Derek Bowles.
I'm not a sage by any. I think I'm a pretty good judge of people because growing up without a father, questioned the male, and I tested males. So I think I'm of who the true males are, who the fake males are, who the weak males are, and who the crooks are. A little hesitant in trusting males because my biological father abandoned us. Has as good a soul as you want. He seems to have a perpetual smile through all the health problems he's gone through. I never heard him whine and say, "Oh, little old me." He's a good coach, a good person. Also, I think all of us, Leonardo da Vinci, who is one of the great, he said, "Those who do not speak out against evil, what drives me every day of my life is Charles Krauthammer now was the paramount example of telling the truth. He was an intellect. He was honest. Emulates me. He said, quote, "You're betraying your whole life." And when I see these politicians get up, I was asked to run for Washington, D.C. I could have regurgitated some of the stuff I saw. Politics. We don't need politics. We don't need people building pyramids for themselves. Now, there's light years of difference between politicians and statesmen. 186,000 miles a second. So even a dumb guy from North Korea, I can figure that out. We just need more good people speaking.
And quickly, one final thought. You coached so many players, right? I'm going to ask you, who was your favorite player you coached?
I could not, this isn't being, give you one player.
Okay, give me 5.
I could give you a list. I could give you a list of a lot of them.
Okay.
The reason, and this isn't some magic prescription magic wand way, but when I recruited kids, obviously the schedule we play, playing Duke, playing North Carolina, playing Kentucky, playing Kansas, we tried to. Our league itself was tough enough. But when I went to see him, his actions on the floor, how did he treat his coach? How did he treat his... I always tried to think to myself, I want that to babysit Arter. And to be honest with you, not trying to sound self or holy at all, because I'm far from that, but there were numerous that had the talent, but I just didn't think had the character. You don't have to be a canonized saint to have coached you, or I'd have never gotten the job. I don't mean it that way. I was really blessed in my 25 years. And, you know, the average life expectancy of a coach is 4 years. And I lasted 25 years. But, I was in, and I wanted to teach more than just basketball. Obviously, you got to teach fundamentals. You got to your defenses, your offenses, but just to make it. In fact, at my birthday, I got calls from former players of mine. Now I'm talking about when I was in college, high school kids I coached. When I was a state in Washington State, the head coach, I got 98 calls from my birthday, emails or messages that wish me happy birthday. So everybody's got a winner. You're going to get fired, but
Now, final question, Coach. Sorry.
You, by the way, I'm not stroking the interviewer. You ask good, sharp, quick questions, conversation. There's some people when they interview you, they dominate the conversation. You can answer a 5-minute question. So you're very, very good.
Well, thank you. That means a lot to me, and especially with no show prep, put it that way. But here it is. Do you talk to other coaches like Jim Boeheim and Krzyzewski and all that? And if you do they teach you or tell you some stuff that you have used throughout the years?
The people I've probably been the closest to, John, 1972. I wanted to find out. Coach then was 3.5 years, 3.5 to 4 years. I wanted to find out his longevity in coaching with success. Who had the great attainment? And I called all those people who had the greatest longevity in the ministry. Norman Vincent Peale. I called him longevity in speaking. The great pole vaulter, gold medal in the Olympics. The catchers. Who had the greatest longevity and success in sports? John Wooden. And they didn't know me from Adam. How would they know me? In fact, when I was applying to get into college, I'd ask for references. And I'd ask the superintendent or the president, hey, I don't have any references. So I called them, and they were so. John Wooden spent 4 days with me. One day, he spent 4 days. Norman Vincent Peale. I went, Lawrence Welk, a name you may not know, a great entertainer, one of the great North Dakota. Bob Richards, I went to his ranch. He was the best public speaker. None of them showed any vanity or what's this North Dakota hick. And when I went to apply for jobs, I was a high school. My wife typed up 100 letters of places we'd like to live. Of the 100 letters, those two people were Liddell Anderson at Utah State, Michigan State. And I said to my wife, that's really rude. People don't answer. They come. And I said, I'll answer every telephone call, every letter. I will not be as rude to them as they were to me. Well, fortunately, I got the assistant job at Utah State. So I'm very, very. And you were fun to interview with. I wasn't bored one second.
I'm gonna ask you this.
I don't have.
I'm going to ask you this, right? I'm going to surprise you here. This is why he's one of the top motivational speaker. But I'm going to surprise you here, okay? When good friend Derek told me we're going to have an interview with you, I went out and purchased a book. All right, the
no.
4 hurdles of life. The 4 hurdles of life. By who?
Oh
By
my
who?
God! That's great. Well, they're pretty simple. And if you notice, the book is simple. We have to, in life, there are 4 major hurdles we have to get over. You can't go under them. You got to jump over them and something up. And if we do that, You can be, if I can have success with no references and grow a job on the Saskatchewan border of 700 people, and the 4 hurdles, that's really nice to see. In fact, get my email from Derry, and then send me your address that I think you'll enjoy. And you've been a delight.
Well, thanks a lot for that.
I get bored very easy, and I wasn't bored once.
And you know what? Send me the email of Shaq, because once you reach 100, we gotta have a huge party and let Shaq spend a little dollar each, guys. Okay, you know what we're talking about. Let him spend a little bills, the green bills there. Okay, because he's got more bills. We could have some green bills there. You know what I'm saying? Okay, come on. But final question here. Final question. What more? Like I said, when you give advice to kids, because like I said, you're one of the top motivational speakers, and you see guys now, kids and even older folks and everything like that. What's your final thought for the people listening and watching to this? What's your final thought? Because we have, like I mentioned, it's the holiday season, and people are always down on the holiday season. What's your final thought for the people who are watching and listening to this?
I think that nothing is so beneficial as and we all make mistakes. Go back to Oscar Wilde's quote, and just to be somebody else. When you get what you want and struggle for yourself and the world, just go to the mirror and look at yourself and see what that man has to say. For it isn't sweetheart whose judgment upon you must pass. The person who counts most in your life is the ones. Oh yeah, you may get pats on the back as you pass, but you're fine if you're the man last. And I try. I'm so far from being perfect, but I'm going to continue to work for it. I know there's no for sure work for it, and thank God I had a good mother that got properly.
That's very well said. Again, that's Coach Dale Brown, simply one of the best motivational speakers. Check book, and you have one book. What do you have? 4, 5, 6 books?
I think there's 5 books. My that you don't read like a book. It's called a collection, and over the years I've collected. We all are playing me a quote one time. I was leaving his house 11:00 at night, and I said, "Quote, I've ever heard in my life. Is that your quote?" And he pondered it, and he says, "Dale, I've stolen so many quotes from everybody. I can't remember if it was mine or not, but I thoughts on life. It covers just about everything in life, from prejudice to failure to courage to achievement, and it's right. It's things I did. I always underline books when I read them up, and I collected them all and broke them down into categories. And I'll just give you a brief finale of it. At adversity, criticism, failure, faith, fear, forgiveness, helping one another, knowing yourself, leadership, love and happiness, prejudice, spirituality. And I like that. It's not a real book. It's quotes from people, and 99% of me. And again, you've been a delight. If we can I thought I was Denny the Dimwit when it came to electronics. I think they my position.
So I got one question. I know he's watching. Okay, some guy named Shaquille. He goes, Coach, I have to ask you this. Coach, can you teach him some wrestling moves? Because now he wants to get involved in wrestling.
Who does?
Shaquille O'Neal.
Oh yeah, he's a joker. He's not gonna. He's not gonna. He does that. He's got such a good sense of humor. The to finalize this, the biggest mistake I made in coaching, I'm mad at myself for it. He was a horrendous free throw shooter. Sometimes he wouldn't hit the rim, seemed like. And I went up to him. We had a couple weeks, and I said, Shaquille, I'm getting a hold of Rick Barry, who's the greatest under game. He shot like 95%. I'm bringing him in here to train you. The points on the court. You're going to get fouled a lot because they can't stop you, but you miss free throws. So I walked away. Coach, and he waved me back. You do that, please. That's a granny shot. That's going to be embarrassing. So I said something for him he can't do. We had a couple weeks left. I said, okay, if you shoot, shooting in the 40s and 50s, if you shoot, and we took coaches, we had them spot where he hit the rim. Did he hit the backboard? Did he swish it? To show them the charts with you. If you can shoot over 70% the last few weeks, now if memory serves me right, I believe he shot 75. I had to give in to my promise, but it was a mistake. I should have done the same thing the next year on the court. He disagrees with me. I think it was he had an operation. I think it was that, but he doesn't think that. Also, his is so big. Like you and I shooting a softball compared to a basketball. You just. But he had a great career, and he's been a wonderful father. He's not also, if you'll notice, afraid to admit his mistakes. Talking about his divorce, that was his fault. He apologizes to his kids, So he's just a good person, and he's got a good mama behind him. And boy, for all the kids that may be listening to this that don't have a dad, listen to mama. She knows far better than we do.
That's right. That's right. And simply one of the best interviews I had. That's Coach Dale Brown. Amazing. Go purchase all his books. It's the holiday season. All his books, and read all his books because I know you're gonna get something from it. Any last comments here to the fans here, Dale? You go ahead.
Commentary.
Sorry.
Boy, for the Minot Mallards, my pro, a little kid.
Yeah.
And we went to, there was a big tournament in Brandon. Familiar with the baseball up there?
Yes.
And it's Brandon's in Manitoba.
Yes, Brandon, Manitoba.
Okay.
Just outside of Winnipeg.
Well, I'm the bat boy. Guess who was pitching for the Brandon? Guess who the pitcher was?
Wayne Gretzky.
Page.
Sorry?
Satchel Paige.
Oh, Satchel Paige. Wow.
All time.
Wow. And it's, you know what? You're obviously, you know everything about basketball, but did you ever want to try out or coach or be something in another sport?
Sports, football, basketball, track and field, baseball. Roger Maris was a friend of mine in North Dakota. And I really loved it. But I might be the worst hitter in the history of baseball. Now, never struck. I'd get hit purposely. I was pretty big for a baseball player, 6'3", 210. And I knew I didn't strike out, but I always hit the ball to somebody or fouled it. I'd get up there and try to get hit in the shoulder, the back, or the knee or something. But a good friend of mine, and
you know who was even worse at baseball?
Me?
You know who was worse at baseball? Derek Bowles.
Who?
You ever see him hit? Oh my gosh.
No. Who is that?
Derek was one of the worst baseball players.
Oh, Derek. Told me when he first met me. I thought he was a humble guy, but he told me when I said, Derek, my friends all call me Derek the Great or the Great Derek, if you wouldn't mind doing that. I didn't do it because I didn't never call him that. But that's what he told me. So that's the kind of guy.
I'll tell you
now
what.
You get my email from.
Yes. I'll get the email, and you know what? A lot of people should call you the Great Coach Dale Brown. Thanks a lot,
just
Coach.
An old North Dakota hick that got a break in life.
Well,
an absolute delight. How big a listening audience do you have?
Well, thanks to that is a worldwide exclusive. He never comes on, does interviews, especially with an independent company. That's LSU basketball head coach Dale Brown. All right, so that concludes another edition of Game Time. We had over 2 hours and a half yesterday of Fired Up Live, 2 hours 45 minutes of Game Time. Tomorrow, a special female empowerment movement takes center stage with our holiday concert. Yes, join Shauna Brown, join Martina Barnett, and Courtney Riddle with favorite holiday tunes for Christmas, for Hanukkah. Check it out tomorrow here on the Fired Up Network, also FAM. And we'll be replaying it on Christmas night as well. So, on behalf of everybody here at Fired Up and FAM, Marty Roberts, also Giancarlo Lino, Carmen Asako, John Freeman Nelson, Courtney Riddle, Dale Brown. I'd like to wish everybody out there a very, very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and be safe, stay safe. A snowstorm in Toronto and the greater North American eastern part here. Enjoy your night tonight and tomorrow with Christmas Eve football games. The NFL is in action, and of course, Christmas Day with the NFL and NBA also. So, and I like to take this special opportunity and say Merry Christmas to my girlfriend, Patricia. Stay tuned for more great programming here on the Fired Up Network.